on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, pretty much anywhere you can stream, we are going to be streaming. Yes, pretty soon I am going to start streaming on Rumble. There was a bit of an interface problem. People are asking, Dan, why aren't you on Rumble? Why aren't you on Rumble? Well, frankly, I didn't see the need to be, because YouTube, right around the time that Elon Musk bought Twitter, renamed it X, and stopped all of the shameless and shameful censorship, all of the other social media companies and pretty much every other internet company online stopped as well, realizing that the era of social media censorship pretty much ended with the Biden presidency. But we are exploring the possibility of expanding our reach on even more platforms. My younger son, who actually turns 15 years old today, happy birthday, Chris, asked whether I would be streaming on Twitch, which is the platform for people to live stream themselves playing video games. So I don't know, maybe you will see me talking about politics while simultaneously playing Tecmo Super Bowl for the Super Nintendo. What do you say? What do you say? Did you know, by the way, for those of us of a certain age who grew up playing Tecmo Super Bowl, that there is a group of people dedicated to keeping Tecmo Super Bowl alive, so much so that they update it with current NFL rosters every single year. So you can actually play Tecmo Super Bowl 2025. If you don't want to pay $65 for the new Madden football game, you can just download Tecmo Bowl and play like it's 1991, 34 years later. All right, you want to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, 414-799-1130. That's our adventknows.com talk and text line. You can email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. Yes, I know our loyal YouTube follower, Jig Grinder. I do hope that's not the social media app that he's using, but if he is, I don't judge. Jig always sends me a waving emoji at the start of each broadcast. He says Twitch is much more than just streaming for video games. And he's right, of course. Twitch is a massive platform. And as soon as my streaming platform, StreamYard, gets integration, at least seamless integration, where I can do it by myself and don't need to spend 15 minutes getting the camera set up and all of this. I need to have seamless integration, because anyone who has ever observed me doing my show knows that I come in like, as Miley Cyrus put it, a wrecking ball. In fact, my very first producer, Armin, dubbed it Hurricane Dan. So I run everything myself. We have one producer. We have him running the radio side, and I'm basically the producer on the streaming side. So there you have it. And that's the reason we haven't been streaming on Rumble. So as they're making it easier to stream on different platforms, we will do so. JK chiming in on YouTube. Hello, Dan. Happy birthday, Chris. Thank you very much for that, JK. All right, coming up on the show today, James Carville wants to save democracy by packing the Supreme Court, adding 2 states, and pretty much doing every other anti-democratic thing that he can possibly think of. Now, amazingly, the libs have all seemingly, at the drop of a hat, abandoned the Jeffrey Epstein narrative that Donald Trump is a pedophile. This after 6 straight years of calling us conspiracy theorists for saying Epstein didn't kill himself and there's a secret cabal of left-wing billionaire pedophiles. Now, of course, the only person on the Epstein list is Donald Trump, and for about 3 straight weeks, they couldn't stop tweeting about it. Now it is all about Republicans, led by those in Texas and, of course, Trump. They are trying to steal democracy. They're trying to end democracy by redistricting, by gerrymandering, something every blue state has already done. This is the hilarious thing to me, that you got the Massachusetts governor standing up there yesterday and saying, we have no choice. We will redistrict to give Democrats an even bigger advantage. The only problem, they already did. Massachusetts not only does not have a single Republican representing it in Congress because of the way that the districts are drawn, there is not a single red district that borders Massachusetts. That's kind of remarkable when you think about it. And we will get into what Carville said and what President Trump is proposing, a new census that doesn't count illegal immigrants. Well, according to the Constitution, he's going to have to wait until 2030. But yes, absolutely, the founders' intent, the framers of the Constitution's intent when they wrote that every 10 years the census shall count all persons in a state, this was not to count illegals, just as it wouldn't be to count someone who just happened to be in the country on vacation or on an extended holiday. There was never an intent to count people who weren't part of the United States. So we will get into that in the 4 o'clock hour. In the 5 o'clock hour, the media, surprisingly here in Wisconsin, did get in, they did start covering this letter that Republicans sent to the city of Milwaukee saying, hey, get your you-know-what together on crime. Do you know what the tact that they're taking on this one is? One reporter asked Bob Donovan, so a lot of these signers of this letter, they're nowhere near Milwaukee. Why should we take you seriously? Okay. Far better question would be, why did no Democrats sign on to a letter saying, hey, Milwaukee, do better on crime? That coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. But I did promise the single most insane left-wing academic screed you have ever heard, and here it is. It comes from Noah Stengel, who, according to the UW-Madison website, is a lecturer. Now, I did contact Dr. Stengel, who received his PhD, I believe, this spring, but he informed me he's no longer with UW-Madison. So he was teaching undergrad classes while getting his PhD, and his dissertation research is on the meaning of land in American political thought, or the contested concepts, logics, and imaginaries. I guess these are technically words, but these are the sort of words that exist only to make people like Noah Stengel sound smarter than they actually are. The contested concepts, logics, not logic, which would be what you would think the word would be, and imaginaries deployed by American thinkers, broadly construed, to interpret the significance of land. His letter actually has a title, which is how you know it's not actually a letter to students, but rather a screed meant for wider dissemination. Yes, I am well aware of the Streisand effect of this, that the widest possible audience it could reach is from my show. The Streisand effect refers to when Barbara Streisand she publicized some issue, and it was like, oh gosh, it was something with her house, and she didn't want people to know where her house was. Well, because she complained about this, everybody knew where her house was. By virtue of her complaining, by virtue of her drawing attention to something, it became way wider of a story, way better known than she would have intended it to be. It's called the Streisand effect. So I am well aware that I am engaging in the Streisand effect here, but my intent is to actually bring a wider audience to what is being heaped upon students. Now, this letter was sent on May 9th, after classes had concluded in Professor Stengel's class, or I guess Mr. Stengel's class, since he wasn't yet a full professor. He was just a lecturer. He was teaching undergrad classes while he was getting his PhD. He wrote this to every single one of his students, and one of their mothers was so taken aback by this that she actually contacted her state senator, Patrick Testin, and he forwarded this on to me. Here's what Stengel writes. To my students, as a political scientist and your teacher this semester, it is my duty to say plainly what has become increasingly apparent. We, in the United States, are currently living in an authoritarian state. I hope this is not the first time a teacher has explained this to you. If it is, I apologize for my own explanation arriving so late. I recognize you may not agree with everything I write here. That's okay. In fact, it's preferred. As I explained below, we can still be in relationships of solidarity absent complete consensus. Above all else, solidarity is what we need right now. I also recognize many of you have come to political consciousness in an age of unending emergency, a global pandemic, crises of police brutality against people of color, an attempted coup, and increasingly destructive disasters resulting from anthropogenic climate change. Clearly, Mr. Stengel is a conservative. Obviously, he's a big Trump supporter, and he is writing from the right. That is one of the most loaded paragraphs I think I have ever written or read from a professor that someone in education has ever written. The past decade has not felt normal, even to those who are relatively insulated from the direct effects of these emergencies. But since the inauguration, we have entered a new era of abnormality, and a word Americans have long resisted applying to themselves, authoritarianism, now, unfortunately, applies. Allow me to explain. But first, a word about me. Now, it's remarkable he waited 3 whole paragraphs to talk about his favorite subject, which would be him and his views. First, a word about me and why I think you ought to take this seriously. Though I study politics, I am not really a political person. Okay. I actually thought, honestly, I thought Teston was screwing with me, and this was like a cleverly written satire. Like he used AI to say, okay, how can we be the most pompous left-wing professor? Please, Grok, ChatGPT, help me out here. I am not a political person. I have opinions, but I am not outspoken. I participate in elections, but have never considered my life or livelihood to be at stake in the outcome. I know this is an enormous privilege. For many living in the United States, what I am about to describe will fit into clear and long-standing patterns of state domination. Regardless of the party in power, the American government has always been less than democratic and even intermittently authoritarian towards minoritized groups. Minoritized groups. That's another word that is unnecessary. Minority groups would be the one that we all sort of have formed a consensus as the correct term. Minoritized groups is, see, what this is, what did my 6th grade teacher called it, a $10 word. They say you put in a $10 word just to remind everybody that you've got a $10 education. All this to say, I am no canary in a coal mine. I am not warning you about an imminent threat only I can see. Instead, the explosion has already occurred. The fire is all around us, and the task now is to take our bearings amidst the wreckage and save as many people as we can, to save our country if we can. Now, at this point, I am going to interject and read to you the letter that, or the email that I read to Professor Stengel and his response. Hi, Professor Stengel. My name is Dan O'Donnell, a talk show host and investigative reporter with iHeartMedia in Madison. I was just forwarded a copy of the attached letter you wrote to your students. Well, it was very well written and delivered after classes had ended for the semester. I have to ask, do you believe sending such heavy-handed propaganda to your students is an appropriate thing for a professor to do? Thank you for your response, which I'll include in my reporting on this. Now, as I read his response, I want you to think about everything he just said. The explosion has already occurred. The fire is all around us, and the task now is to take our bearings amidst the wreckage and save as many people as we can, to save our country if we can. That's what he wrote. Greetings, Mr. O'Donnell. Thank you for your message. Propaganda preempts critical thinking and stokes fear in an audience to make a particular course of action seem inevitable or beyond question. Presenting certain racial groups or populations as threats, thereby prompting an audience to exclude or attack said groups, is the textbook example. If you've read my letter, you'll know it does no such thing. The explosion has already occurred. The fire is all around us, and the task now is to take our bearings amidst the wreckage and save as many people as we can. That does not stoke fear in an audience to make a particular course of action seem inevitable or beyond question. That's one sentence out of like a 6-page manifesto. This guy could well be writing this thing in a cabin in Wyoming and sending it out along with mail bombs, for goodness sakes. This doesn't stoke fear in an audience. I give him credit, though, and I do have to give credit where credit is due. It is very well written. It's also completely insane. The wreckage is all around us. We are slipping into an authoritative state. And I highlight this, I don't want to highlight Stengel. I don't even know where he's going. I actually do wish him well in all his endeavors. I really wish his students luck, because they're going to need it if they dare to suggest, hey, I don't think the fiery wreckage of the failed authoritative state of America really is all around us. You are clearly getting an F if you disagree. He continues, I lay out my perspective on the current state of affairs, but I ask my students to think for themselves about it. I don't expect them to agree with me entirely. And as I state explicitly, I believe there is strength in diverse opinions. I've received responses from students who agree with me as well as from those who don't. Both are a testament to the thoughtfulness of UW-Madison students and the liberal education they've received kindly. Noah, I respond, you really don't believe that your letter stokes fear in an audience? I mean, okay, thanks for the reply. I'll be discussing this later this afternoon. He goes on for like 4.5 more pages. I'm not going to read the entire thing, just key areas. He says, let's pause to recall just a few of the Trump administration's actions in its first 100 days and how they qualify as authoritarian on multiple accounts. He then lists ICE, deportations, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, because, of course, Elon cutting government waste, bullying of private law firms targeting Trump, ending DEI, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He says, these are the facts. In sum, the United States is now governed by an administration that openly defies the rule of law to intimidate and violate the rights of anyone it can brand as a terrorist, gang member, or anti-Semite. We all know what they mean when they deploy these dog whistles. It's not meant to be a secret. So far, the repression has been concerned on those without legal citizenship, But the president has already entertained the idea of going after homegrown criminals as well. We have all been warned. Still, not everyone is exposed to authoritarianism equally. It's a classic mistake in American imaginaries of life. There's that word again, imaginaries of life. How about the imagination of life, the conception of life, the belief of life in Nazi Germany? It's a classic mistake in American imaginaries of life in Nazi Germany, hopelessly diluted by Hollywood, to suppose an entire society of fearful people peering out from behind curtains and hiding from the Gestapo. On the contrary, authoritarian regimes can feel remarkably free, open, and normal to those who are not targets of state repression. That said, even those of us who have been relatively immune from most of the aforementioned strategies have been subject to the truncation or short-circuiting of thought itself. Granted, these are crazy and interesting times, but they are only so because, deep breath, a megalomaniac has stoked racial grievance and revanchist fantasies to co-opt an entire political party and is now leveraging the loyalty and fear of his co-partisans to control, terrorize, and disappear those he sees as enemies, which will eventually include anyone who does not expressly pledge fealty to him and his movement. This is the reality. For many of us, it is a traumatic one. This is not the America we were promised in the textbooks and the movies and the walking tours around Washington, D.C. So we resort to euphemism, crazy times, which is only the symptom of a deep psychic wound. And every day, the wound cuts deeper. He then goes into predictions about what Trump is likely to do. In the coming months, we are almost certain to see an intensification of due process violations, e.g., illegal deportations and other forms of state repression. Over the next 4 years, it is likely Trump's extraordinary influence will extend into spheres it has not reached before. I'm thinking specifically of the ways we receive our information. One aspect of the Liberation Day tariffs that has gone mostly unnoticed is the way Trump has granted exemptions to industries and firms that prove themselves willing to accede to his demands. Apple is an example. Using tariffs as a threat, there is nothing to stop Trump from asking a company like Apple to, say, alter the built-in apps or push notifications on the iPhone to promote MAGA propaganda. Imagine an alert everyone receives about an invasion on the southern border or updates about crime statistics when your phone detects you are traveling to majority minority cities or blue states. That's paranoid delusion, is what that is. Here's more. I believe there is a 50-50 chance that Trump finds a way to stay in power past 2028. He has already floated the possibility in his usual style as a kind of joke that, should it gain traction, he can repeat again and again until at least half the country simply takes it on faith that Trump can and should remain president as long as he wishes. Finally, it is possible in 10 years we will have an entirely different constitutional order and system of laws than at present. At this point, I don't know if it will be an order that entrenches authoritarianism or defends against it, but I find it hard to imagine the current order outlasting the wreckage this administration will cause. Big finish now. Those are the stakes, and that is the work to be done. It is a tall task, and the outlook is grim. If I have any hope, it comes from the brilliance, generosity, and care I have witnessed in all of you this semester. Each of you has been given a set of talents that you came to this university to hone. Use them well. Above all, use them together. The wolf is in the house, but we are not alone. It is, after all, our house. On that note, I'll leave you with the words of poet Maggie Smith. Any decent realtor walking you through a real bleep hole chirps on about good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful. So the conclusion is America right now is a bleep hole. But if we, band together and overthrow the evil dictator Trump, it can be beautiful again. That was sent to every single student by PhD candidate and professor, or at least lecturer, the teacher of a class responsible for these kids' grades. Noah Stengel, he tells me, is no longer with the university. And he did get back to me to explain that, yes, this is totally appropriate, not at all propaganda, not at all fear-mongering, and completely and totally sane, and definitely a thing that taxpayers should be paying for, that you should be paying $20,000 a year for if you send your kid to UW-Madison. We'll be back to discuss more after this.
Most people have no idea there's an invisible gap in their home's protection. This invisible threat is house stealing. Con artists pick a house. They transfer the deed of this house into their name by obtaining the forms, using the fake IDs, and filing the paperwork with proper authorities. Now they own the home. Protect your home from this invisible gap. Check on your home's title right now at HomeTitleLock.com. Be sure to use promo code RADIO, and they will send you a complete title scan of your home's title. And your first 30 days of triple lock title protection is free. HomeTitleLock.com.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can easily find the right home insurance for you, even if it's not with Progressive. But if you don't choose us, then sure, okay, it's not going to work out. We're not going to cry about it or stay awake wondering what our future together would have looked like. We can't get emotionally invested, even if it sounds like we are. Progressive's Home Quote Explorer allows you to easily compare home insurance rates and coverages in one place, even if it's not with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. I love you. I shouldn't have said that.
Hi, it's Jay. Let's talk about the roof on your home. A lot of you will need to replace your roof this summer, but be forewarned, there are roofing companies out there that skip over the most important part of the process, the attic ventilation. If your attic doesn't have proper air circulation, it can cause problems like mold and wood rot, leaks in the winter, not to mention higher AC bills in the summer. This is one of the reasons I recommend Semperfi Roofing to my listeners. Their process begins with a free 21-point roof inspection that includes a thorough inspection of your attic. They know that if the ventilation isn't right, the roof will be built on a shaky foundation. Every Semperfi roof comes with a well-thought-out attic ventilation plan, and that's why they can offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. Money-saving discounts and financing incentives are available. Call for your free 21-point roof inspection and estimate today, 262-600-2910, or book an appointment online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
When it comes to your home or business, trust matters. At Blue Line, we brought integrity and reliability to every job since 2016. Bill here, retired detective and owner of Blue Line Window Washing. Blue Line proudly serves southeastern Wisconsin with top-tier window cleaning, pressure washing, and gutter cleaning, delivering spotless results with unmatched professionalism. We proudly support law enforcement, first responders, and military veterans because service runs deep in who we are. For clean windows, clear gutters, and a home that shines, call Blue Line. Visit BlueLineWW.com today.
We use powerful truck-mounted carpet cleaning units designed to remove even the toughest dirt, and certified cleaning technicians who understand the definition of clean.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
I wasn't kidding, was I? That is the most insane left-wing screed, well written though it may have been, that I think I have ever read from any academic anywhere. I mean, this makes Noam Chomsky sound like Ted Nugent. That's how radically left-wing this guy Noah Stengel is. For those who missed the opening monologue, UW-Madison lecturer, he's a PhD candidate who is no longer with the school. I didn't ask him where he was going because, frankly, heaven help those students. He wrote, as a political scientist and your teacher this semester, it's my duty to say plainly what has become increasingly apparent. We in the United States are currently living in an authoritarian state. The past decade has not felt normal, even to those who are relatively insulated from the direct effects of these emergencies. What emergencies? Global pandemic, crisis of police brutality against people of color, an attempted coup, increasingly destructive disasters from climate change. But since the inauguration, we've entered a new era of abnormality, and a word Americans have long resisted applying to themselves, authoritarianism, now unfortunately applies. He explains that what President Trump in his second term has been doing, ICE activities, deportations, including that of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a literal gang member and human trafficker. That is a great injustice that poor Kilmar was sent to the super prison down in El Salvador. Elon cutting government waste, the cutting of government. So the decentralizing of government power is now the centralization of government power and authoritarianism. So the guy who wants to cut government spending and government authority is the actual authoritarian, just so we're clear there. Bullying of private law firms targeting Trump. Oh, that's rich. Do you know what happened to any lawyer or any law firm who dared to defend Trump during the challenges to the 2020 election? Rudy Giuliani was disbarred, and he was sued by two women who still, down in Georgia, have not fully explained how it was proper procedure to store a box full of mail-in ballots underneath the table until 2 a.m. when they thought all the cameras were gone, then pull it out and start counting. There's a Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. I still have not gotten an accurate or complete explanation. They're caught on camera pulling out a box full of ballots from underneath their table and then counting it, then running it through the scanner at 2 a.m. Is that proper chain of custody down in Georgia? Giuliani was disbarred. He very nearly faced criminal charges. They were openly talking about criminally charging lawyers who would work for the Trump administration or the Trump campaign. But yes, please tell me how it's authoritarian that Trump is targeting law firms that oppose him. Ending DEI was also a sign of the coming apocalypse. He then predicts Trump is going to try to stay in power past 2028, put in a new constitutional order, basically just destroy America, concluding with a poem by Maggie Smith. Any decent realtor walking through a real bleep hole chirps on about good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful, meaning if we just take out Trump. If you, my students, band together, recognize what a bleep hole America is, you band together and what exactly? This is the exact same sort of rhetoric that we have been hearing for years. This same guy, Hitler Jr., was very nearly assassinated twice because of rhetoric like this. This is designed to foment that exact same hatred and justify the exact same extreme actions against the President of the United States. Explain to me how it isn't. If Trump is that existential a threat to everything, and remember, this guy uses such loaded language early on as the explosion has already occurred. The fire is all around us, and the task now is to take our bearings amidst the wreckage and save as many people as we can to save our country if we can. How do you do that in an authoritarian state, save for open war or rebellion or assassination or some sort of other extreme measure that is, of course, completely justified because of how dangerous that existential threat Trump is to the rest of us? That's not rational thought. That's completely and totally irresponsible for anyone, even just some PhD student who has a class full of kids. It is irresponsible for anyone in a position of power. And quite frankly, it's shameful that our tax dollars were helping to subsidize this insanity at the exact same moment, by the way. You want to know why conservatives like me were so furious about the budget compromise after we had been told by Republicans in the state legislature that we were going to crack down on left-wing radicalism and DEI and the UW system, and then they turn around and give them hundreds of millions, nearly $1 billion in new revenue. Oh, well, the UW system, they need all of this money to build new buildings. What, bunkers? For Commandant Noah Stengel to lead the resistance to Trump from? I would say I'm shocked, but frankly, the only thing that's really shocking is that this kid was dumb enough to put it in writing instead of just saying all this stuff out loud where people like me wouldn't be able to disseminate it to a wider audience of older and more mature and more rational thinking people who can dissect it, properly contextualize it, and recognize it for the paranoid, borderline schizophrenic delusion that it is. For our tech, is this what Republicans in the legislature were paying for when they thought, well, Dan, this is a good compromise, and we didn't give UW everything. I know you gave them more. This is one guy. This is one PhD candidate. And I'm willing to wager there's not going to be a single Democrat. There's not going to be a single UW system regent who speaks out about this. There's not going to be a single. You think Jen Mnuchin, the chancellor of UW-Madison, does she disagree with a word of this? Of course not. Of course not. And she's not dumb enough to put it in writing where someone like me can call her out on it. They all think like this. Why are we pretending otherwise? Why are we pretending that kids who are going off to college, I've got a kid who's going to be in college next year, and I pray he doesn't get a true psychopath like Stengel filling his head with this garbage. Imagine if for the past 4 years, I was going on the radio and saying, Joe Biden is an existential threat to all we hold dear, and the only thing we can do is band together to stop this dip into authoritarianism. And you know what the ultimate irony of all of this was? We were never closer to authoritarianism than we were during COVID. We weren't allowed to leave our houses. We weren't allowed to go fraternize with members of our family who happen to live in a different home. At the time, my family lived across this little wooded path from my in-laws, Grammy and Grampy. If my little kids were to bike through the path and go to Grammy and Grampy's house, Grammy and Grampy could have been thrown in jail. That's the grossest violation of association rights in this country's history. Was I out there saying we need to form a resistance? That's what's being said apparently in UW-Madison classrooms. And I dare say nobody except me is going to make a big deal out of it. And that's why I'm here. Dan O'Donnell Show, coming right back.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
For many of us, the most important part of our routine between 6 and 9 weekday mornings is to listen to every minute of the Jay Weber Show on WISN. Sadly, sometimes less important elements of our lives get in the way, such as work, children, and bathing. Don't despair. The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood, or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. Cut and Go trees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
People should be judged for the content of their character, not the straightness of their teeth.
I'm Mila. The gracious, caring staff at Ross Dental makes straight teeth convenient.
Bo, Mila's big brother here. High school social pressure can make students want to be invisible. Ross Dental straight teeth are confidence building.
With Ross Dental straight teeth, you and your children will smile like you just don't care because you don't.
Dr. Ross did imaging and ordered virtually invisible plastic trays that fit over our teeth, shifting them ever so slightly.
Every 5 days or so, we start new trays that shift teeth a little more.
Unlike conventional braces, we can take the trays off to eat and brush our teeth, and they cost less.
A bonus for me is clicking and my jaw stopped.
Dr. Ross is a great dentist, and Dad says Ross Dental is the best deal.
family dentistry, cosmetic whitening, Ross Dental straight smiles, and full sedation dentistry for anxious patients needing substantial restoration. Our mission, your comfort, health, and confidence. Smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalWI.com.
It's one of the hottest topics when it comes to finance and your money. The One Big Beautiful Bill. If you haven't read it, we don't blame you. It's 900 pages with 400 just for tax provisions. Not exactly light reading. You know who has read it? Annex Wealth Management. That's where Instant Insight webinars come in. They're designed to provide clarity for today's hot topics. Get up to speed fast. Check out the full Instant Insight schedule at annexwealth.com/events. Unbiased advice from a fee-only fiduciary. Find out more at annexwealth.com.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to entertainment centers, our experienced designers work. Get 40% off with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
Join News Talk 1130 Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
When starting a new home project, the first step is the hardest to take. Hi, Colleen here with Tri-County Contracting. And with Tri-County Contracting, the first step is super easy. Go to TriCountyContractingWI.com. You can fill out a short form requesting a free estimate. Amanda will give you a call and schedule a no-pressure appointment with you. Whether it's roofing, siding, windows, or all of the above, we have you covered. If you are looking for an even faster roof price, we also have our instant roof quote button. Name, address, and email address, and you have your price on the spot. Easy first step. Then, all the steps after that, we'll take care of those for you. Getting you an easy-to-read, clear proposal quickly comes next. Then we can help you pick colors using our showroom or project map on our website. We pull the permits, we take care of materials and disposal. Our trained and specialized crews and project managers take care of all the install and cleanup. For you, it's as easy as one step, and that step is easy. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
Jay here for Bob's Glass in Waukesha, which carries a great line of glorious customized glass shower doors and has a newly remodeled showroom to give you ideas. Shower doors come in a surprising number of choices. Do you want a frameless door, semi-frameless? Do you want it to slide, open to the left or the right? What style of glass? Bob's Glass services all of southeastern Wisconsin and does anything glass. In fact, it's thermopane replacing season. I tell you, my friends at Bob's will take care of you. See bobs-glass.com. That's bobs-glass.com. If it's glass, Bob's Glass.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like 80s Rock featuring Van Halen, Billy Idol, Aerosmith, Def Leppard, and more for your summer road trips. Crank it up all summer. 80s Rock. Commercial-free 24/7.
I stay for a white wedding.
Just open the free iHeartRadio app and find your next summer preset. Now.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Conservative thought, not just talk.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Coming up in the daily Trump date, President Trump makes a surprise appearance in the Oval Office to talk about economics and his meeting with President Putin. That's coming up in the daily Trump date right after the top of the hour news. We will also get into the great gerrymandering debate yet again as Jimmy Carville, of all people, the mouth from the South, is demanding that Democrats save democracy by adding 2 states so that Democrats get 4 extra senators, by packing the Supreme Court, and by doing pretty much every other thing that would change the rules of a game that they are losing. Of course, they are claiming that Republicans are changing the rules of the game by gerrymandering and promising that they're going to gerrymander their states even harder. The only problem, there are 9 different states that are controlled by Democrats that don't have a single Republican congressman.
Trump
is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Come on, who else could be today's unhinged liberal of the day? We spent all hour talking about his letter to students. He is now PhD Noah Stengel, who at the time last semester was a lecturer and PhD candidate at UW-Madison, who wrote a letter to students called "The Wolf is in the House." I am going to be breaking it down and posting relevant sections of it on X. Unfortunately, there's no way to directly post PDF files, so I've been going through and taking screenshots of it. A number of people are asking me to post screenshots or to post the letter. I'm going to do my best to just show you what it is that you are paying for, both your tax dollars and your tuition money, if you are sending your young mind full of mush, or what did Rush call it, young skull full of mush, to UW-Madison. This is what you're getting in the political science department. Look, I don't care. I understand that every single UW-Madison political science professor is going to be a leftist. You can at least present material in a way that isn't a paranoid fever dream. This was a paranoid fever dream. Now, it wasn't sent during the school year, which would be bad, which would be very, very bad. This, I would argue, is nearly as bad because it is so unhinged, because it is just, I can only imagine what this guy's classroom lectures were like if this is what he puts into writing at the end of the semester. This is what he wants you to remember Professor Stengel by. It's the fact that Donald Trump is going to crush his enemies and end American society, and only you can stop it. Noah Stengel is your unhinged liberal of the day. We are going to have to take a little break and then go into the top of the hour news. Please don't go anywhere, because you are going to want to get to the daily Trump date, as well as how Democrats plan to counter Republican redistricting. Here's a hint. It's about as nuts as Noah Stengel.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Southbound 43 Brown Deer to the Marquette taking 35 minutes. Already got road work in the area, and then a stall block in the right lane at Good Hope. Westbound on 94 from the Marquette to Moreland, another 16 with delays to Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Looking for affordable blinds, shades, or shutters for your home? Don't hire an expensive pro. Check out Blindster.com, where we offer custom-made window coverings at guaranteed low prices with a team of pros ready to help you every step of the way. Blindster.com.
I'm Victor Harding, a true trial attorney at Warshevsky Law. You've heard our advertising for years. While it's been effective introducing Warshevsky to injured people in need of maximum judgments and settlements, most of our clients come from personal referral. Referrals from former clients grateful for the settlement or trial judgment Warshevsky won on their behalf. Thus, they're recommending us to friends and family. Referrals from people in the community, including other lawyers and judges who want to make sure their friends and family are taken care of. Still not sure? Ask around. Warshevsky is referred by Wisconsin law enforcement officers who've seen Warshevsky attorneys in action, desperate to make sure friends and family receive just compensation. Insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family members hurt in accidents. They know the work we do. They all refer Warshevsky because, big case or small, we can help. If someone you love is injured, please let them know, because at the end of their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
We're the Libby family.
At Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
We're not a home center.
Everyone here is an expert who really knows their stuff.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan?
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to entertainment centers, our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
Business owners, want to sell your business? At Lake Country Advisors, our team will meet with you face-to-face and will answer all your questions confidentially. Visit LakeCountryAdvisors.com and schedule a free consultation. Local, experienced, and trusted. We are Lake Country Advisors.
It's a listener emergency. Jay, I got a bad epoxy job on my garage floor from a Chuck with a truck. Can Comer and Cross fix it and put down the floor you got? Yes, my friend. Yes. The gold standard process that Comer and Cross uses starts with them grinding that right off, and you'll never need to redo your garage floor again. And you can get $750 off if you call now. Call 262-788-6430 or go to comercross.com. Do it right so you only have to do it once. Comer and Cross uses a permanent special 6-step process that they guarantee will never chip, crack, yellow, or show tire lift. Best of all, it can be done in a single day after their techs move all of the stuff out of your garage for you first. My niece bought a fixer-upper with the worst garage floor I've ever seen. An awful, cracked, pitted, oil-stained thing. She called Comer and Cross, and now her garage is brilliant. She jokes it's the nicest room in the house. Get $750 off right now of an already low price. Call 262-788-6430, 788-6430, or go to comercross.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Divergent Family Law, here to talk about facts and myths about divorce. Do you think as long as you play nice, so will your spouse? That's a myth. Many divorces start that way, but before you know it, one disagreement unravels everything you previously thought was settled. Have you heard it's cheaper to get divorced without an attorney? That's a myth. It's not. The assets lost by not knowing what you are legally entitled to are much more costly than an attorney. Have you heard attorneys bill by the minute and will waste time so that they can charge you more? At Divergent Family Law, that's a myth. We offer free consultations for divorce and provide you with a flat quote for representation. You won't have to wonder what you'll get charged. The facts are you'll get your best possible outcome when you have an experienced attorney at your side. Our attorneys have seen it all. They know the laws and they know the judges. They'll make sure that you get your fair share or better. Contact us today at divergentfamilylaw.com.
Homeowners across Wisconsin trust WeatherPro Exteriors for the best in roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Voted Milwaukee's 2024 top choice. We are proud to deliver the highest quality and service. Right now, get $1,000 off a full roof replacement, plus a $200 Quick Trip gift card. Your home is your biggest investment. Make sure it's protected with top quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors built to last. Visit WeatherProExteriors.com today.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. One person is dead. 2 others were hurt, including a Milwaukee police officer after a chase ended with a fiery crash on the north side of Milwaukee yesterday. Fox 6's Donovan Long.
Police say a teenager was driving the car that crashed and did not survive. Police say this all started when officers tried to pull over a reckless driver who took off from there. That led to a chase that ended when the car hit a tree and, of course, caught fire. Police say the driver killed was 17 and was wanted for a felony.
And Governor Evers said today that he's aware of the demands for accountability over the Canadian wildfire smoke that's caused the poor air quality across Wisconsin.
The leadership in Manitoba, they're good people. They're not just sending this down here just willy-nilly. It's a huge province that has lots of trees.
Wisconsin has seen more than 20 days of poor air quality this summer due to the wildfire smoke. The 4 o'clock business report brought to you by the Good Feet store. The Dow down today, 224 points. The NASDAQ gained 73, while the S&P lost 5. Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, ESPN is reporting that Packers safety Xavier McKinney could miss the rest of camp due to a calf injury. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Partly sunny conditions for our Thursday should warm nicely to around 86 degrees. Late in the day, we could get into some rain and thunderstorms that'll last through the night tonight with a low of 72, possibly into Friday morning. Friday's high near 90. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling. Prices are up, but your comfort doesn't have to wait. At First Choice Heating and Cooling, pay $0 now and 0 interest for 12 months. Lock in today's price and stay cool all summer. Milwaukee's heat's no joke. Call First Choice now.
Most people have no idea there's an invisible gap in their home's protection. This invisible threat is house stealing. Con artists pick a house. They transfer the deed of this house into their name by obtaining the forms, using the fake IDs, and filing the paperwork with proper authorities. Now they own the home. Protect your home from this invisible gap. Check on your home's title right now at HomeTitleLock.com. Be sure to use promo code RADIO, and they will send you a complete title scan of your home's title. And your first 30 days of triple lock title protection is free. HomeTitleLock.com.
Protect your home and auto by bundling them with Progressive, and you'll have a little less to worry about. But we know you'll find other things to worry about. Like that text you just got from your boss. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Oh, hey, call me when you get a sec. Yeah, this is bad. Oh, well, at least you protected your home and auto with Progressive, so you don't have to worry about that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell from Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. There's a lot of things in life we put off for far too long. Going to the doctor or the gym or the dentist. We know we should do it, but there's always something else more urgent. Estate planning cannot be put off. Life is unexpected. Have you thought about what your family would go through if you died without a will? Probate is stressful, time-consuming, and costly. It can cause family disputes and resentment. Is that what you want your legacy to be? Don't procrastinate when it comes to your family's future. Protect them from chaos and confusion. Don't let your legacy be the mess you left them with. You probably hear a lot of ads that say, time is running out, don't wait. It's a marketing gimmick. We all know there will be another sale soon. When it comes to estate planning, time is literally running out. Plan today and have peace of mind tomorrow. Don't gamble with your life's work. Don't gamble with your family's future. GrieveCivilLaw.com, because time is running out.
You got to get to Built Right today. Dan here for my longtime friends at Built Right Furniture. Built Right's biggest Labor Day mattress sale is on now. Their one location saves you time and money, and they make it easy to shop and easy to buy. Built Right beats any big box, national or local chain store, employee-free store, online retailer, or warehouse club because they have the guaranteed lowest prices. Built Right has the best value selection and most experienced team, over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best mattress brands made in the USA: Heirloom, Therapeutic, Restonic, Schiffman, and Gold Bond. Built Right specializes in hard-to-find flippable and heavy-duty mattresses. Plus, they offer free delivery and removal on mattress-only purchases of $799 or more. Built Right always saves you money. Voted best place to shop and open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right.
You're just a click away from listening to News Talk 1130 WISN in glorious digital clarity via the iHeart app. Click, enjoy, repeat.
2 of the Dan O'Donnell Show. 1 hour from now, another chance to win in the iHeartRadio Music Festival Flyaway Contest. Round-trip airfare for two nights hotel stay, ground transportation, 2 tickets to the iHeartRadio Music Festival in Las Vegas, September 19th and 20th, and a $1,000 gift card, all on the line. Just after 5 o'clock, we have already had one winner on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Nicole from Waukesha, let's make it a twofer this week. Next winner could be you. Be sure to be listening at 5 o'clock. We will also dive into the crime issue in Milwaukee. Reporter A.J. Bayatpour of CBS 58 has on Bob Donovan, Assembly member from Greenfield, former Milwaukee alderman, and asks him, a lot of these Republican legislators, sir, that signed on to this letter demanding that Milwaukee do something about its out-of-control crime are nowhere near Milwaukee. Why should we care what you think? Now, Bayatpour is actually usually a pretty good political reporter, but this question was just so ridiculous. Donovan dispatched him pretty easily, and I want to delve into that a little more deeply. Why all of Wisconsin should care about crime now emanating out of Milwaukee into Waukesha County, which has just issued an alert about a crime spree in affluent neighborhoods in New Berlin, Muskego, Waukesha, pretty much everywhere. There are nice homes and nice cars. There have been break-ins in the past couple of weeks. We will get into that coming up here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Plus, another Republican congressman from Wisconsin is demanding answers from the Canadian government about why it is we have had to deal with 3 straight years of wildfire smoke that they are completely unable to get a handle on. No, I don't think they should be turning all of their windmill farms around to blow the smoke back up north, but preventive measures and better firefighting techniques. Why is Canada not doing them? We'll get into that as well here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. I had a first today, ladies and gentlemen. I am pretty active on social media, by the way, if you would like to follow us at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, and pretty much everywhere else that you can find us on social media. We are streaming live on all of those, plus our YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell, should pop up. It's easy to find if you just like and subscribe. Subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show YouTube channel, and you will get notified when we go live at 3:06 Central each and every afternoon. When I get keyboard warriors who are just out there to troll, what I often do, because I tend to find it to be endlessly entertaining, is I'll challenge them to an on-air debate. I think we have had a grand total of maybe 3 people ever take me up on this. They can usually suss out that I'm pretty good at debating and would probably make mincemeat out of them, as I have to everyone who is foolish enough to call in. But this was a first. A guy refused even before the show starts. No, I'm not going to take part in your fascism, or whatever it was he said. He demanded instead that I read something, not that he had written, but that an AI had written in response to me. He had Grok, which is X or Twitter's AI, write something out and said, no, I am not going to take part in ripping apart the country, or whatever he said I do on this radio show, which is usually what they do. What they'll say is, well, you're just going to talk all over me and I'm not going to get a word in edgewise. No, what I will do is actually start a clock. You get a minute, I get a minute, you get 30 seconds, I get 30 seconds. It's debate format. No excuse. But then the excuse I always get when people just won't come on is, well, I won't take part in amplifying it. There was one guy who said, I will not platform you. Random dude with like 250 Twitter followers said he was not going to platform me. He said, my brother in Christ, I think you may have this backwards. This was the first time I ever had somebody say, no, I want you. If you're man enough, you will read what this AI has written for me. It's just got me thinking, has the left so thoroughly abandoned critical thought that we're now outsourcing it to machines? I suspect that this is what we are going to see, is especially with these online little snits that people get in, you're just going to see a battle of AIs. And this guy just kept going in my mentions. It's actually pretty comical. He was having a discussion with Grok about how terrible I am. And Grok, weirdly, if you ask to like rip on Dan O'Donnell, try it. Use, I am begging you, use Grok to say Dan O'Donnell is wrong about everything or something like that. They will use Wisconsin Watch, which is this left-wing hack quasi think tank that's affiliated with UW-Madison. Yet again, the crazy professor, Noah Stengel from the first hour, would be right at home with Wisconsin Watch. They tried to do a big profile of me, and they accused me of spreading misinformation, right? And they did so with the completely dishonest tactic. There was a kid who emailed me, and he said, "Hey, Mr. O'Donnell, I'm doing a project on, I have to, do a story on broadcasting, and I was going to pick a broadcaster to interview, and can I just talk to you about your career?" Yeah, sure. Okay. I'm always willing to help people. So I talked to him for a good 45 minutes, an hour or so. Never talked about any of my many inaccuracies on the air, just talked about my career, how I got started and all of this. And I found out later that he was actually asking at the behest of Wisconsin Watch. His professor for this broadcast class was the head of Wisconsin Watch. It's incredibly unethical to do. They wrote, and this happened to be on Super Bowl Sunday, right? And it was, who was playing in the Super Bowl? Chiefs and, this was the year before. This was 49ers Chiefs Super Bowl. And I had mentioned he making conversation. Well, who are you rooting for tomorrow? And I said, the 49ers. I grew up, I loved Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, and the Packers were never any good when I was a little kid. So I just sort of adopted the 49ers. So I definitely will be rooting for them. Article comes out 10 months later about all of my inaccuracies. And it starts, I talked to Dan O'Donnell on Super Bowl Sunday. He is a lifelong Kansas City Chiefs fan. I told you the exact opposite. I literally told you the team that they were playing. And then it goes on about how I spread misinformation. So the article started with misinformation about me. So they use Wisconsin Watch to say Dan O'Donnell told 14 untruths in 4 hours. I actually went through every single one of them, and it was a matter of opinion that they said, well, this is contradicted by what this guy says. Well, no, that's a counterbalancing opinion. That's not me saying, what would be a fact I could misstate? Here's a fact I could misstate. Biological men can give birth. That would be like misstating a fact. I thought that was endlessly fascinating, that for the first time, I actually had someone responding using AI and saying, no, I am going to have this AI speak for me. And it just got me thinking, wow, AI really is coming for every job, including internet troll.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Trump just keeps winning.
It is a win for the administration.
It's also a big win for the United States.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Time now for the Daily Trump Date. It's your look back at what happened today at the Trump White House. Just about an hour ago, President Trump called reporters to the Oval Office for an important economic lecture, and he actually had economist Stephen Moore deliver it, finding brand new data that shows three key things. The first is that the BLS commissioner that Trump recently fired over those bad jobs numbers was really more like the BS commissioner because of how inaccurate she has been through both the Trump and Biden administrations.
I was telling the president that he did the right thing in calling for a new head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, because this shows that over the last 2 years of the Biden administration, the BLS overestimated job creation by 1.5 million jobs. That's a gigantic error. And I don't know if she's, I'm not.
Might not have been an error. That's the bad part. If it was an error, it would be one thing. I don't think it's an error. I think they did it purposely.
Whether that, you may well be right, but even if it wasn't purposefully, it's incompetence.
Right.
Okay. So 1.5 million jobs overestimated. We have access to the.
He said we have access to the newest data from 2024, in addition to prior years, Moore said, that shows that median household income through the first 5 months of Trump's second term is up bigly.
We have access to the some data that no one else does on what has happened month by month with median household income. This is based on unpublished Census Bureau data. It will be released sometime in the next 6 months, but we get an advanced look at it. And so I was telling the president in his first 5 months in office, starting in January through the end of June, the average median household income adjusted for inflation for the average family in America is already up $1,174. That's
an incredible number.
Yeah.
Just came out.
Just came out. So that's a giant gain.
And if I would have said this, nobody would have believed it. There's your number.
That's kind of amazing. Moore also said that the data now shows that Trump has created jobs and increased wages at a rate 10 times that of his predecessor.
We finally have the 2024 data on what happened with real family income in the United States. And so what I did was I compared the record in Donald Trump's first term with the Joe Biden first term. And you can see that, by the way, these dotted lines here, Mr. President, that's COVID. So if it had not been for COVID, these numbers would have been substantially better. But even taking account President Trump's last year in 2020, we saw a $6,400 real after inflation gain in income for the average family. And that compares with Joe Biden, which was a measly $551. So, Mr. President, you gain 10 times more income for the average family than Joe Biden is because of your policies.
Also on the economic front today, President Trump announced that he has chosen Steve Myron, the current chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, to serve in the just vacated seat on the Federal Reserve Board until January 31st, 2026. In a post on Truth Social today, the president said, in the meantime, we will continue to search for a permanent replacement. Stephen has a PhD in economics from Harvard University and served with distinction in my first administration. He has been with me since the beginning of my second term, and his expertise in the world of economics is unparalleled. He will do an outstanding job. Congratulations, Stephen. Now, at that Oval Office impromptu press conference, President Trump was asked about the possibility that as soon as next week, he might meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Does Putin have to meet with Zelensky in order and before you and Putin have to meet? Or
No.
Are you
so you're willing to? That's actually important because President Putin said this morning he was pretty dismissive of this idea of meeting with President Zelensky. President Putin was.
I don't know. I didn't hear
him. For you to meet with him, he doesn't have to agree to meet with Zelensky. Is that what you're saying?
No, he doesn't. No.
So what do you think that means?
They would like to meet with me, and I'll do whatever I can to stop the killing. So last month, they lost 14,000 people killed last month. Every week is 4,000 or 5,000 people. So I don't like long waits. I think it's a shame. And they're mostly soldiers. They're Ukrainian and Russian soldiers, and some people from the cities where, missiles are lobbed in and you'll lose 35, 40 people a night, which is terrible.
President Trump from there moved on to a ceremony with Purple Heart recipients on this National Purple Heart Day, commending their sacrifice and their valor serving this country. Today also marked 200 days in office for President Trump in his second term. And he said at that event, it is the most consequential first 200 days of any administration in American presidential history. And I've got to be honest with you, folks, I'm having a difficult time disagreeing. That is your daily Trump date. We will be right back with much more here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford Total Traffic Center.
Southbound 4145, 25 minutes from Good Hope to the zoo. Northbound, you got a 15-minute trip. Still got a crash on the right shoulder at north. Southbound 43, 35 minutes. Brown Deer to the Marquette. At Good Hope, a stall blocks the right lane. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Milwaukee County Zoo.
A la carte at the zoo, presented by Meyer, is back August 14th to the 17th. Enjoy live music from Philip Phillips, Los Lonely Boys, and Low Cash, plus great food and wild sights. Get tickets at milwaukeezoo.org or save at Tri-City National Bank.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
Streaming live only on Hulu. A weekend full of superstar performances. And keep listening for the next chance to win your way there.
The 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival is brought to you by Metro. With their new lower prices, the celebration starts way before the festival. Big savings so you can focus on your favorite artist, not your phone bill. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Hi, I'm Tom Detlich with Grandview Homes. Life can move fast or slow or somewhere in between. So when you want to sell your home, we're here to work on your schedule. Whether you need to close in 10 days or need more time to get things in order, we'll make it happen. We'll buy your home completely as is, no matter the condition. At Grandview Homes, we know your time is precious, and we won't waste it by giving you the runaround. Just a fair, guaranteed offer on your schedule. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today.
You don't need to move up north to feel like you live up north. Trees on the Move has an evergreen sale on now. Save on 5 to 12-foot Black Hills spruce, Serbian spruce, Norway spruce, white pine, and more. Add to your landscape with 20 to 30-foot maples, elms, oaks, honey locust, arborvitae, junipers, and more. Trees on the Move has to clear 40 acres, and this is your chance to buy big and save big. Save up to 75% at Trees on the Move's evergreen sale, Monday through Friday from 8 to 4, Saturday 9 to 4, or see treesonthemove.com.
For superior carpet cleaning, hire a company with over 75 years of experience that will get the job done right the first time. Always clean, always on time. Edelman.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Conservative thought, not just talk.
No talking points, just in-depth analysis and exclusive investigations.
The Dan O'Donnell Show, weekday afternoons 3 to 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN. When you need to know, come to us. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Why is a Dem state rep from Wisconsin in Massachusetts? Why is he advocating on behalf of Democrats in Texas while in Massachusetts? Of course, it's because of the great redistricting battle that Democrats are waging. We will have that story. It is something of a Dan O'Donnell Show exclusive. The Young Republicans, great organization, whose national convention is actually coming to Wisconsin, coming to Milwaukee specifically in 2027. Young Republicans of Wisconsin, one of the chapters of it. And I apologize, guys and gals. I thought it was First District Young Republicans, not exactly sure, but a Young Republicans group tipped me off to this. State representative from Wisconsin is in Massachusetts to protest with the fleeing Texas Democrats. We'll tell you who he is coming up in just a second. First of all, you have to hear James Carville, Clinton advisor, Democrat elder statesman, and as one ex-user pointed out, increasingly boomhauer from King of the Hill. You know, the guy with the Southern accent who nobody can understand. Try to decipher this. Carville said on a podcast today that Democrats, if they take total control in 2028, presidency, House, Senate, they need to save democracy by rigging democracy against Republicans.
The Democrats win the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2028, which is not impossible. I don't know if you say likely. The Democrats talk about democracy, and you have these people, importance of democracy and preserving democracy and saving democracy. Well, the truth of the matter is, people are right when they say this democracy is really imperfect. And they're going to have to do it. The Democrats win the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2028, which is not impossible. I don't know if you say likely or possible. I don't know what word, but it's certainly not impossible. They are just going to have to unilaterally add Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia states.
Okay.
They're going to have to, the Constitution gives Congress power over federal elections. I don't think they can redistrict, but they're things they go do. They're going to have to do it.
They can't.
They're just going to have to do it. And they may have to expand the court to 13 members. Any of those things in isolation, I would be skeptical about. I would be cautious about. I would say, well, I don't know if that's the greatest idea in the world. You're opening Pandora's box, or all kinds of things. If you want to save democracy, I think you got to do all of those things, because we just are moving further and further away from being anything close to democracy.
All right, you follow that. To save democracy, because we're moving so far away from democracy, Democrats need to seize total power in Washington, then ensure that they have permanent power in Washington by unilaterally adding 2 states, Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico, so that they will get new congressional representatives as well as new senators, all of whom would be very liberal and obviously Democrats. So they need to do that. Then they need to violate the Constitution, as they attempted to do in 2021 by unilaterally redistricting on behalf of the states. There was actually a bill that was passed by the Democrats, who had the majority in 2021 in both the House and the Senate. Democrats couldn't overcome a Republican filibuster in the Senate of this bill, and Republicans were right to filibuster it. Democrats were saying, well, this is going to end partisan gerrymandering. It was going to force every state to use a, quote, nonpartisan redistricting commission. Grossly unconstitutional. Each state has the authority, and not just a state, the state legislature. That is what the Constitution delegates the authority of redistricting to, the legislature of the state. And each state has the power to redistrict following the census as it wishes, so long as the legislature has authority. For Congress to unilaterally usurp that authority from a state legislature would be unconstitutional. This, I think, is probably why that guy I was talking to you about that used the AI to respond to me instead of going on the air didn't want to go on the air to debate me on gerrymandering, because I think he surmised that I probably was prepared for both his and his AI's arguments. it was unconstitutional what the Democrats tried to do in 2021. It would be unconstitutional what Jimmy Carville is suggesting. And the third thing, to save democracy, we need to unilaterally add 3 seats to the United States Supreme Court, which theoretically is lawful. Congress does have authority over the court, not authority over the court. They're separate but equal branches. Congress has the authority to designate how many seats are on the Supreme Court because the Constitution did not specify it. In fact, the court has been added to over the years. The reason for that, though, was because news and opinions and everything just moved a lot slower in the 1800s. I believe the last time the court expanded was in 1870 something. And the idea was we needed more justices to be able to handle the caseload. Well, now you can have an AI do legal research for you. You don't even need legal interns. You don't need judicial researchers. You could theoretically use an AI. We don't need more justices because the 9 justices that we currently have can very easily handle the workload, the caseload that comes before them. The only reason to pack the court would be to, as FDR wanted to pack the court, it would be to ensure that grossly unconstitutional left-wing policy proposals and legislation don't get challenged and don't get struck down by a court of 9 justices. They still can't fathom that Donald Trump was able to appoint 3 justices. Hey, I still maintain you should be mad at Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She had the chance to retire during the Obama administration, and she did not. She played with fire, and she lost. So did the left. But they think that because Trump is an illegitimate president, remember, these are the people who still believe that Vladimir Putin installed Trump as the president because they hacked the 2016 election. They believe that those 3 justices that he appointed, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, they're illegitimate. And you can't take them off the court unless you do what one leftist tried to do and kill Kavanaugh. You can dilute their vote, though, by simply packing the court with 4. And how did he arrive at 4? How is the magic? No, we need to add 4 justices to the Supreme Court because the majority right now is 6-3 for the right, for conservatives. So 4 justices who would be appointed by President Gavin Newsom would, of course, be liberals, and then Democrats would have a 7-6 majority magically on the Supreme Court. This is what they're proposing because President Trump floated the idea yesterday, or maybe it was early morning in Truth Social post, I think. I started hearing rumblings about it late last night, that we should have essentially a do-over in the U.S. Census. Remember, as I reported yesterday, even the Census Bureau under Joe Biden, and remember, it's the Census Bureau in 2020 conducts the census, then the count is essentially done and redistricting is done the following year. So when redistricting was done, it was done in 2021. It's the new state legislatures that are elected in the even numbered year will go to work redistricting based on the census data that they're given. The Census Bureau admitted that they screwed up. Because of COVID-19, there was a dramatic undercount, weirdly enough, almost entirely located in red states. Florida, Texas, I believe Georgia had an undercount, and the overcount happened in blue states, especially Minnesota and Rhode Island. Very likely that had Trump lost in 2024, the botched census of 2020 would have been at least partially to blame because it apportioned congressional seats as well as electoral college votes to states like California and New York that would have otherwise lost even more. Texas was only 3,000 people away from another congressional seat and another electoral vote. Just think about that for a second. Florida was very close as well. Florida probably was robbed of a seat. Texas was likely robbed of one seat and possibly two because minorities, Black people, Asians, Native Americans, and Hispanics were undercounted in those states. Because states like Minnesota, Rhode Island, Vermont have much lower minority populations, they weren't as affected, and there was instead a bit of an overcount in those states. Moreover, if we only counted legal citizens, people who are in this country lawfully, blue states would have lost way more than they did. There is currently a Supreme Court case out of Louisiana. The court has asked for briefs to be filed. There are going to be oral arguments likely coming up in, I thought it was November or December, with a decision expected in 2026. It's entirely possible racially gerrymandered districts are deemed unconstitutional. If that happens, you are going to see a tidal wave of Democrat losses because there are going to have to be districts redrawn in a way that doesn't make them majority Black or majority Hispanic. The biggest threat, however, as I said, the thing that Democrats are panicking about more than anything else is the next census in 2030. Their states are going to lose so many electoral college votes that it is entirely possible Republicans to win the presidency in 2032 will only have to win North Carolina and Georgia. Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania will be irrelevant. It's a huge structural advantage, and Democrats have only themselves to blame because so many people are leaving their states and going to red states. A big change that can happen right now, though, that would also make a big difference heading into the 2028 presidential election has nothing to do with redistricting at all. Nothing. If Nebraska decides to change the way that it hands out electoral votes, Republicans in 2028 would not need to win Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. They could hold the presidency just by holding Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. All Nebraska would have to do is to change its law, which says we apportion electoral votes by congressional district. There are 3 congressional districts in Nebraska. One of them is around Omaha, which has the university, it has the Capitol, bunch of Dems in Omaha. That district votes Dem. So Democrats actually get an electoral college vote out of Nebraska that they otherwise wouldn't get. If the winner of the statewide popular vote got all 3 of Nebraska's electoral college votes, Democrats would not be able to win the presidency by winning Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. Again, huge advantage. No redistricting necessary, just need a change of law. Maine is the only other state. There's 2 electoral votes there. They're apportioned or they're handed out by congressional district. Whoever wins, whoever gets the most votes in that congressional district gets that electoral college vote. To me, it seems kind of stupid to do it that way. And Nebraska is overwhelmingly Republican. Republican governor, Republican state house. There was talk that they were going to do it right before the 2024 presidential election. Trump would have won an even bigger landslide. I mean, it would have almost been fait accompli had Nebraska done that. Democrats are terrified that they're going to do it. And now Florida has joined in with Texas in saying, yeah, you know, we could probably redistrict if we really want. Why not? What state rep is currently in Massachusetts repping Dems in Texas? We'll tell you next.
The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
In Elm Grove, still got Blue Mound closed down both directions between Meadow Lane and Sunny Slope. A couple crashes, 94 eastbound, first at 84th, and another at 68th. Both are off to the right shoulder. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by FabTech Expo.
Hey, Milwaukee. FabTech hits Chicago September 8th through the 11th, the largest trade show for sheet metal forming and fabricating in North America. 1,700 exhibitors, live demos, and it's free. Register now at fabtechexpo.com.
It's one of the hottest topics when it comes to finance and your money. The One Big Beautiful Bill. If you haven't read it, we don't blame you. It's 900 pages with 400 just for tax provisions. Not exactly light reading. You know who has read it? Annex Wealth Management. That's where Instant Insight webinars come in. They're designed to provide clarity for today's hot topics. Get up to speed fast. Check out the full Instant Insight schedule at annexwealth.com/events. Unbiased advice from a fee-only fiduciary. Find out more at annexwealth.com.
An unsuspecting driver at a Milwaukee barbershop.
I got an apprentice here shadowing me. I'll put this hot towel on, man. About a good 3 minutes, all right?
The apprentice is Donald Driver.
So when you come here, you drive?
Yes.
Your car got seatbelts?
Yeah.
You wear them?
No.
Okay, but why not?
I don't want to.
But do you know you can get a ticket for that? Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you a ticket. I bet you wish you buckle up now.
Oh, my God. Donald Driver can't always be there to remind you.
Take it, click it. There we go. Click it or ticket.
And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways. Sponsored by Wisconsin DOT.
When starting a new home project, the first step is the hardest to take. Hi, Colleen here with Tri-County Contracting. And with Tri-County Contracting, the first step is super easy. Go to tricountycontractingwi.com. You can fill out a short form requesting a free estimate. Amanda will give you a call and schedule a no-pressure appointment with you. Whether it's roofing, siding, windows, or all of the above, we have you covered. If you are looking for an even faster roof price, we also have our instant roof quote button. Name, address, and email address, and you have your price on the spot. Easy first step. Then, all the steps after that, we'll take care of those for you. Getting you an easy-to-read, clear proposal quickly comes next. Then we can help you pick colors using our showroom or project map on our website. We pull the permits, we take care of materials and disposal. Our trained and specialized crews and project managers take care of all the install and cleanup. For you, it's as easy as one step, and that step is easy. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Seed oils, the number one source of calories in American diets, developed as engine fuel in industrial lubricants, only ended up in the food supply for profit. Seed oils cause arthritis, heart disease, metabolic syndrome, stroke, type 2 diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, and chronic illness. Medical doctors prescribe dozens of pharmaceuticals for life to treat symptoms of those diseases. Why don't they tell you to stop consuming poison? I'll tell you why. You sick is profitable. At Total Health, we teach eliminating seed oils from your diet improves true health and how you feel. Total Health finds the root cause of your fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, sleeplessness, then works with you, the whole you, eliminating symptoms and the chronic disease causing those symptoms. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution is true. Total Health's holistic practitioners utilize proven science to help you feel and truly be the most helpful and well you. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Serving in the military requires great sacrifices, not just for one's country, but also for one's family. Not surprisingly, divorce for soldiers is especially difficult, and it raises a number of challenges that are peculiar to military divorce, things such as deployments, relocation, retirement benefits. These issues can be complicated. So if you're a soldier facing such challenges, go to CordellCordell.com.
111 East Kilbourne, Milwaukee. CordellCordell.com.
Homeowners across Wisconsin trust WeatherPro Exteriors for the best in roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Voted Milwaukee's 2024 top choice. We are proud to deliver the highest quality and service. Right now, get $1,000 off a full roof replacement, plus a $200 quick trip gift card. Your home is your biggest investment. Make sure it's protected with top quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors built to last. Visit WeatherProExteriors.com today.
Injured? Call Gruber Law. One call, that's all. The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now. Like 80s rock. featuring Van Halen, Billy Idol, Aerosmith, Def Leppard, and more for your summer road trips. Crank it up all summer. 80s rock. Commercial free 24/7.
I stay for a white wedding.
Just open the free iHeartRadio app and find your next summer preset now.
WISN. Big taxers, big spenders, political cronies, global warming alarmists, charlatans, liars, scam artists, and feeders at the public trough. The threats to your happiness are many, but that's where we can help. News Talk 1130 WISN. Our truth shall keep you free.
The iHeartRadio app now has preset buttons, just like your car radio. Now make sure one of those preset buttons is set to News Talk 1130 WISN. Excellence is just one click away on the preset buttons of the iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is classical conservatism and contemporary style. State Representative Clinton Anderson is a Democrat from Beloit. So where was he yesterday? In Massachusetts, advocating on behalf of libs in Texas. He posted on his Instagram page, "Earlier today, I joined legislative colleagues from across the country at the Massachusetts State House to stand with Texas Democrats. They're fighting back as Donald Trump tries to gerrymander their congressional map to pick up 5 more seats. Thank you, Texas Democrats, for your hard work." He has an entire photo gallery posted, of course. He is featured prominently holding up the "Texas is first, your state is next" sign. So, people of Beloit, your state representative is looking out for you in an East Coast state focused on issues in a southern state. But he is totally looking out for you. Now, shall we ask Representative Clinton Anderson, who is so worried that the sort of gerrymandering that they're trying to do in Texas could come to a state like Wisconsin or the state he is in now, Massachusetts? Should we tell him that Massachusetts is so gerrymandered there isn't a single Republican representative in the state? Not one. Not one. This is the problem for the left. Republicans have tried to play by the rules of fairness when it comes to redistricting, knowing full well if they don't, there will be screeching from all corners of the left. Here in Wisconsin, we have dealt with nearly 15 straight years of said screeching over unfair maps. We even had a state Supreme Court candidate, Janet Protasewicz, whose campaign tagline was, and I quote, "The maps are rigged." At least that's how I imagine she said the maps are rigged. I assume, knowing what I know about Ms. Protasewicz's personal life, that would be followed immediately by a hiccup. But that's how I imagine she sounds. Wisconsin is not gerrymandered, never has been. In fact, Wisconsin is, at least it was, until the state Supreme Court, including Judge Janet, "The maps are rigged," Protasewicz, gerrymandered the heck out of it using Governor Evers' People's Commission maps in 2023. We had about as close to proportional representation as it gets. In fact, the United States Supreme Court was twice asked to weigh in on Wisconsin's maps. Guess what it decided both times? Not to, because there were no constitutional issues that were violated. There was just no issue. Do you know which map the U.S. Supreme Court did strike down as an unconstitutional racial gerrymander? Governor Evers' congressional map. At least as it pertained to one district. I'm sorry, his legislative map. The congressional map is the one that's in place. You might recall alleged conservative Supreme Court Justice Brian Hagedorn actually sided with the court's 3 liberals in picking both of Evers' sets of maps. And I said, no, the state legislative map is an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. Here's why. I had all sorts of leftist lawyers at the time. I'll never forget this. Never. It's 2022. Oh, you're saying, Dan, that you know more about constitutional law than a state Supreme Court justice? Apparently I did, and the United States Supreme Court agreed with me. Republican states, overwhelmingly Republican states, can redistrict and can pick up more Republican representation. I don't believe that they should go through mid-decade redistricting as a matter of ethics and a matter of principle. I believe it to be wrong. I believe that you redistrict once and it's following a census. But every Dem state is gerrymandered to the hilt. There is no way for Massachusetts to possibly get more gerrymandered in its congressional map. None. What, are they just going to add another Democrat congressman? They're just going to grow one out of the ground? California has 52 seats. 40 of them are controlled by Democrats. Illinois has districts that look like little snakes. Again, even though Republicans in Illinois get roughly 35 to 40% of the vote, they control, 17%, not even, of the congressional seats? Those are gerrymandered states. And now they have the gall to be upset. People like Clinton Anderson have the gall to take a little field trip out to Massachusetts and pretend to be upset that a 9-0 Democrat gerrymander is okay, but Texas trying to undo racial gerrymanders in its state isn't? Come on.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
20 minutes either side of 4145 between the Zoo Interchange and Good Hope Road. 94 between Moreland and the Marquette at around 20 apiece. And in Elm Grove, got a full closure of Blue Mound between Sunny Slope and Meadow Lane with crash cleanup. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Milwaukee County Zoo.
A la carte at the Zoo, presented by Meyer, is back August 14th to the 17th. Enjoy live music from Philip Phillips, Los Lonely Boys, and Low Cash, plus great food and wild sights. Get tickets at milwaukeezoo.org or save at Tri-City National Bank.
Hello?
Mr. Hoban?
Yes.
Hi, this is Amy from First American Bank. I got your message that you called, and I'm calling you right back.
Okay, I'll hold.
Oh, I'm not putting you on hold.
I'll just finish my tuna fish sandwich here and stay on hold until you get back to me.
No, Mr. Hoban.
Can you make it before the end of the day, though? I have a gentle yoga class at 7.
Mr. Hoban, are you new to First American Bank?
Yeah, I figured you got to be better than the big bank I was at. But I'm ready to hold now.
Mr. Hoban, I'm not putting you on hold.
What?
First American Bank is built on superb customer service. Huh. So besides offering the best loan deals in town, cash management service, and more. If we can't take your call right away, we call you back as soon as possible. First American Bank thinks of it as treating our customers like family. You treat your family with consideration and respect, right?
Can you put me on hold while I think about that?
Mr. Hoban.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. Visit firstambank.com or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm Dave Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring. It's true, there's nothing quite like the scent of freshly steam-cleaned, worn carpet other than a wet dog or cat's litter box. However, Flawless's customer satisfaction-driven, unprecedented growth pinched the Milwaukee metro flooring industry to the point major carpet companies are no more. We've added quality carpeting lines, becoming your true one-stop flooring shop. Flawless Flooring's New Berlin and Delafield showrooms feature virtually unheard of in the flooring industry, upfront accurate pricing, including installation on every display. Know how much carpet, LVP, or modern laminate flooring you need? You can calculate exact pricing as you shop. Want to expand your existing hardwood flooring? Flawless's employee-only craftsmen strip existing flooring, install new hardwood, then finish old and new together for a perfect, looks all original floor. Lock in purchasing power of today's dollars for money you'll earn up to 21 months from now with Flawless's no money down, zero interest financing. Sensory Underload, Flawless Flooring, flawlessflooringllc.com. That's flawlessflooringllc.com.
There are only a handful of carpet cleaning companies in the country who guarantee results, and we're one of them. It's no wonder why we're Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Redefine Realty kicked off our Crave Genius inspired campaign with iNet. Real estate for winners. RedefineRealty.com.
Every home seller will win, achieving maximum sale price, and every buyer can win by simply outbidding competitive bids. Simply brilliant.
Marketing for winners. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Hi, it's Jay. Let's talk about the roof on your home. A lot of you will need to replace your roof this summer, but be forewarned, there are roofing companies out there that skip over the most important part of the process, the attic ventilation. If your attic doesn't have proper air circulation, it can cause problems like mold and wood rot, leaks in the winter, not to mention higher AC bills in the summer. This is one of the reasons I recommend Semperfi Roofing to my listeners. Their process begins with a free 21-point roof inspection that includes a thorough inspection of your attic. They know that if the ventilation isn't right, the roof will be built on a shaky foundation. Every Semperfi roof comes with a well-thought-out attic ventilation plan, and that's why they can offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. Money-saving discounts and financing incentives are available. Call for your free 21-point roof inspection and estimate today, 262-600-2910, or book an appointment online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi. BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your roof
statewide.
We all remember that one teacher who made a difference. Now's your chance to say thank you in a big way. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominate an outstanding teacher in your life to be among the winners of $5,000 to stock their classroom at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
You can't be stopped with Unstoppable's laundry scent boosters because they give your clothes 24-hour nonstop freshness. So even on your longest nonstop days, you'll be confident in smelling fresh all day long. Try now for as low as $5 and smell unstoppable.
Rush on, tight pocket.
There we go. There you go. There's the pressure they've been waiting for. Badger and Cooper.
Cairo Santos for the game. Here's the snap. Placement made. The kick is blocked. It is blocked. It is blocked. And the Packers have won. Beautiful.
The home of your Green Bay Packers and the flagship of the Packers Radio Network.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
97.3 The
Well, that promo got me fully psyched for the Packers season. They open up the preseason this Saturday, as you heard. You can hear it on your Green Bay Packers flagship, our sister station 97.3 The Game. They're going to be hosting the New York Jets at 7 o'clock Central Time. You going to be going up there, producer Jeff? You going to be running the game back here, running the coverage? Yeah, that's what I figured. Jeff is sort of on loan to us here on the Dan O'Donnell Show from the fine folks at 97.3 The Game. You pumped for the Packers season? No? Thank you. Okay, that is exactly where I was going to go. He goes, no, it's baseball season. Thank you very much. I have been so thoroughly enjoying this Brewers season. I normally start doing research for fantasy football. Yes, I am a giant nerd. In early August, I always try to do the ceremonial first mock draft. Yes, I am a giant nerd. But this Brewers season has just been so much fun. I don't want it to end. Did you see the stat that they just put out? The Brewers are the first team in Major League Baseball history to have a road trip of any duration where they scored 50 or more runs, didn't commit a single error, and didn't lose a game. absolutely unreal. They have just decided they are not going to lose again. Oh, we were one win away from free burgers. Too bad. Looks like we'll just have to win another 12 games. That is this Brewers team. And let me tell you, friend, is a lot of fun to watch. We'll get you the unsung hero of the day coming up next hour, plus a chance for a trip for two to Las Vegas and $1,000 coming up after the news.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Clay and Buck weekdays 11 to 2 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. There was a 15-vehicle crash earlier this morning in Sheboygan County. Fox 6's Bone Kadrovich is in Plymouth.
For around 70:35 this morning, Sheboygan County Emergency Communications Center received numerous calls of multiple vehicle crashes along State Highway 23. Sheboygan County Sheriff's Department says there was low visibility this morning when deputies arrived. At least 9 cars were involved in the crash, leaving several people seriously hurt. While closing down the scene, the sheriff's office says another accident happened nearby, this one with 6 other vehicles involved.
The man at the center of a 38-hour standoff in Ozaukee County this past spring has been ruled incompetent to stand trial.
37-year-old Matthew Novak was arrested after deputies responded to his home in Fredonia 2 days earlier for a report of gunshots. A criminal complaint states that Novak was considered a significant threat to the safety of the community and law enforcement during the May standoff. The doctor who conducted a competency evaluation testified in Ozaukee County Court Wednesday that Novak is delusional and paranoid and lacks a rational appreciation of his case. Ted Allen, Wisconsin Radio Network.
And all of the U.S. soldiers shot at Fort Stewart in Georgia yesterday are expected to survive. Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard. Brewers off today, home this weekend to play the Mets. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Partly sunny conditions for our Thursday. Should warm nicely to around 86 degrees. Late in the day, we could get into some rain and thunderstorms that'll last through the night tonight with a low of 72, possibly into Friday morning. Friday's high near 90. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling.
This heat is unbearable.
Keep your family comfortable with First Choice Heating. For a limited time, get $89 off your AC and heating tune-up. Milwaukee's trusted HVAC company, firstchoiceheating.com.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here.
Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year.
More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024.
It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards.
It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know 2 attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare.
Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case.
Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters,
often our adversaries,
refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation.
Injured? It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
That's Warshawski.com.
Your home is your sanctuary, and the first step to peace of mind is controlling your power. Get a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac dealer, Generator Supercenter. Go to GeneratorSupercenterofLakeCountry.com.
Most people have no idea there's an invisible gap in their home's protection. This invisible threat is house stealing. Con artists pick a house. They transfer the deed of this house into their name by obtaining the forms, using the fake IDs, and filing the paperwork with proper authorities. Now they own the home. Protect your home from this invisible gap. Check on your home's title right now at HomeTitleLock.com. Be sure to use promo code RADIO and they will send you a complete title scan of your home's title. And your first 30 days of triple lock title protection is free. HomeTitleLock.com.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even I added too much water to the pizza dough day?
Yep.
How about getting a call from my daughter to pick her up at the airport because her boyfriend is unreliable day?
Especially that day.
What about finding out that one of my pipes suddenly burst in my basement day?
Progressive has every day covered 24/7 with a Home and Auto Bundle. Also, you have a lot of bad days.
Oh no, that was all the same day.
At least you're covered with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Are you tired of being tired? Go to adventknows.com.
Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. I'm certified financial planner John White with your closing business report. The major adversaries remixed today as President Trump's tariffs hit dozens of U.S. trade partners after his self-imposed deadline for countries to strike trade deals expired. In earnings news, shares of Duolingo soared over 14% after the language learning app posted a second quarter beat on both top and bottom lines. Duolingo also guided for current quarter revenue in the range of $257 million to $261 million, higher than the $253 million analysts estimated. On the day, the Dow was down 224 points to close at 43,968. The S&P 500 is down 5 points, and the Nasdaq is up 73 points. From Creative Planning, I'm John White.
Couple of days here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. A couple of days ago, I was talking about what I do during commercial breaks. And on that particular commercial break, I went back to my office. My office is down the hallway from the studio, right down the hallway. It's actually very convenient. And as soon as I walked into the door of my office, I completely forgot why I went down there. And I knew I went down there because there was some topic that I wanted to cover and I needed to get some bit of information or some soundbite or something for the next segment, for the segment right after the top of the hour news. And I have 6 minutes. I have exactly 6 minutes from the top of the hour, from exactly 5 o'clock to exactly 5:06:00 when the opening theme music starts. I got 6 minutes. For about 5.5 minutes, I sat there wondering why it was that I walked into the room. And I talked afterwards about a very common psychological effect called the doorway effect or the location updating effect. Both mean the same thing. It's when you go into a new room and you completely forget why you're there, there's a psychological reason for it. And it's because memory is tied to physical location. In other words, we have what are known as event boundaries. So when you cross through a doorway, you're crossing through an event boundary. The previous event, what I was doing in the studio, doing a talk show, is now over. I am in a new event in my office. I have now forgotten the previous event. So my brain shifted its focus to the new environment. Okay, here's the pictures of the kids on the wall. I got my calendar, my computer. Okay. And it loses its focus on why I was there in the first place. Well, I got an email from a loyal listener named Cynthia in Winter Haven, Florida, who shared with me a charming story about listening to me talk about the doorway effect and how she applied that to her middle school Bible study class. Good evening. I was streaming a previous episode of your show that I had missed on my way to work, and it came to the section where you talked about the location updating effect. First, it made me laugh, as that happens to me all the time. Second, I decided to take it into my middle school classroom as a fun mini lesson. I teach 6th through 8th grade Bible classes in Florida. I asked the students to come up with an explanation of what they thought it was. They came up with some hilarious definitions, and then I gave the real explanation. Lastly, I asked them to take the location updating effect, that concept, and relate it back to their faith. The kids started talking about how when they find themselves in places other than Bible class forgetting their faith, they could always look back to their roots. It was fantastic. So I thank you for your side note of that topic. It made my class this morning full of great discussion up to the bell. Florida schools start early. We started yesterday. Blessings to you, Cynthia in Winter Haven, Florida. Isn't that a cool story? That, Cynthia, you truly made my entire week, because that is why I do some of these side topics, because I feel like people are interested in some of the psychological stuff that I discuss. I'm no psychologist or anything like that. I'm crazy, so I understand a lot about psychology. No, it's just something that's always fascinated me. Human behavior, the way the mind works, the way the brain is connected to the soul, the way everything just sort of works together. And I'm glad that you were able to apply that in your classroom. And man, I am really sorry you've got to be back at a classroom when it's like 105 degrees on an August day in Florida. I'll tell you what might brighten everybody's mood, even if you're back to school. MPS doesn't go back to school for another week or two. But even if you are back to school, even if you are still stuck at work, even like Cynthia, if your summer vacation is already over, you can already plan your next vacation to Las Vegas. The iHeartRadio Music Festival Flyaway Contest is now. All you need to do to win round-trip airfare for two to Las Vegas, 2 nights hotel stay, ground transportation, tickets to both nights of the iHeartRadio Music Festival, September 19th and 20th, plus a $1,000 gift card, is to text the word music to 200-200, MUSIC, music. You've got until 55 minutes past the hour to go and text the word music to 200-200. If you enter the contest, you will get a confirmation text and information. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. Already had a winner this week. Nicole from Waukesha was listening to us in the 5 o'clock hour on Tuesday. She texted in. She won. Why don't you join her? You guys would be on the same flight. Maybe you'll sit together. Maybe you'll make a brand new friend. Best of luck. It is the iHeartRadio Music Festival Flyaway Contest right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Yesterday, I told you that a group of Republican lawmakers sent a letter to the city of Milwaukee saying, hey, the heck's going on with the explosion in crime, especially in the supposedly safe downtown entertainment district. AJ Bayatpour, a reporter for CBS 58. He formerly hosted Capital City Sunday in Madison. Before that, he was a reporter with Fox 6. And I actually find him to be one of the better political reporters out there. I think on television, he, Matt Smith at Channel 12 in Milwaukee, and Charles Benson of Channel 4 in Milwaukee are probably the three best reporters, the fairest, most accurate when it comes to reporting political stuff. The question he asked Bob Donovan, though, was pretty ridiculous. Bob Donovan, of course, the Greenfield representative, one of the chief signers, and I believe the lead author of that letter to the city of Milwaukee. He actually asked Donovan, why should anybody outside of Milwaukee care what you reps from all over the state think?
What can the legislature do? Because one thing I noticed in your letter is a number of those signatures are from outstate lawmakers, fine people, but they don't represent anywhere close to Milwaukee. Why should anyone in this community care what they have to say?
Could you imagine if, let's say, the year was 2020, and a group of, black lawmakers put out a statement condemning racism across Wisconsin? And all those black lawmakers happen to be from Milwaukee and Madison. And I said, you know, why should any of us suburban whites care about what those representatives from Milwaukee and Madison have to say about racism? Could you imagine the backlash? My goodness. It would make the Belling protests of 20 years ago look like an ice cream social. It's a ridiculous question. First and foremost, as Donovan immediately points out, Milwaukee begged the state for more shared revenue and the ability to levy 2% more in sales taxes. And that money was conditioned specifically on using that revenue to get Milwaukee safer, specifically to put resource officers back in Milwaukee public schools. Guess what MPS refused to do until a judge ordered them a year plus later to put the officers back in the school? They just didn't do it. Some of that money was supposed to be used to hire more police officers. Guess what the city of Milwaukee has refused to do for the past 3 years? Give its police officers a raise or a new contract. Here's Donovan responding to that ridiculous question.
Well, I would hope that, boy, they certainly cared what they had to say when they wanted their vote on Act 12. So when they want something for the city, yeah, they care what they have to say. I'm simply asking the city to do the right thing. And, at the same time, these guys care about Milwaukee because we have heard ad nauseum from the mayor and other leaders in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's the economic engine for the state, so it impacts all of us.
That's right. As goes Milwaukee, so goes Wisconsin. And this, unfortunately, is totally true. We are now in the middle of a crime wave, not just in Milwaukee, but also in nearby Waukesha County. On X, Waukesha Alerts, which is the police and fire alerts for the city of Waukesha, they put out an alert warning about a crime spree. There has been a significant amount of vehicle thefts and entry to auto calls in all of Waukesha County in the past week. The suspects appear to be targeting wealthier neighborhoods where people are more likely to leave their vehicle unlocked. Many of these entry to auto and vehicle thefts are made on vehicles that are unlocked and with the keys left inside. Though there have been a couple that involved breaking the window to gain access to the vehicle, the majority of these crimes have occurred during the overnight hours. Cities and towns that have been impacted with such cases or attempts include but are not limited to the city of Brookfield, city of New Berlin, village of Heartland, village of Neshota, village of Sussex, and town of Merton. This is your warning to ensure your vehicles are always locked and preferably stored in a secure garage and keys are not left inside the vehicle. Video cameras will also be helpful, especially if you become a victim. With the majority of these cases, the common suspect description has been younger black males wearing all black, 17 to 22 years old. In the cases with stolen vehicles, every single one of them had a last known location in the city of Milwaukee after they were taken from Waukesha County. This is likely a massive organized crime specifically targeting Waukesha County residents. Area police departments and the sheriff's department are working tirelessly on these cases and doing the best they can. If you see or hear anything suspicious, call police immediately. Again, video cameras can help tremendously, especially if they manage to catch clear photos of the suspects and their vehicle. That, by the way, is the first time in a long time you have ever heard criminal suspects described as black males aged 17 to 22. That's apparently something we just don't do anymore. So, Chief, who is it that we're looking for? Well, it's a person of indeterminate sex. Yes, can we get a better description? Well, they were wearing clothes. Yes, these criminals, they often wear clothes. Yes, but who specifically should we be looking for? Well, it's a person about 6 feet tall. They have hair. Did we mention they have hair? Yep. Okay, what type of hair? They have hair. That's all we're going to say. We don't want to stigmatize any groups. Yes, but sir, we are looking for specific people who committed a specific crime. Maybe if we spotted them in the community, we could be able to help. Nope. Well, okay. How about if there may be known suspects, could you put out the mugshot of the people that were, nope, might stigmatize groups. Don't want people to get the wrong idea that certain demographic groups are committing a lot of crimes. Well, no, sir, that's not what we're saying. We're saying this crime, we need a suspect. Well, the suspect is a person. The suspect has skin. What color skin? No, just skin. We know they have skin. These are not undead suspects who are just made up of rotting flesh. They do have skin. They have hair, and they're wearing clothes. All right? Go get them. All the cars were taken back to Milwaukee, you say. It's remarkable how reality has a hilarious sense of irony and hilarious timing in just totally dunking on the libs. That was clearly a question coming from the left, from Bayatpour. Well, why should Milwaukee care what a Greenfield rep has to say? Well, because my constituents are also getting victimized by thugs from Milwaukee who realize that they can go out just about 25 to 30 minutes, and there are people who aren't used to thugs from Milwaukee in their neighborhoods, so they stupidly leave their cars unlocked. Crime has a weird way of radiating outward. And the fact that the state has bailed out both the city and county of Milwaukee when they were screaming that we're in a fiscal crisis and we can't afford to pay our police officers. We can't afford to keep our citizens safe. Please, outstate Republicans, please support this increase in shared revenue. Please give more of your money to us. But here's the question that I think Bayatpour should have been asking. Not why are so many outstate Republicans writing a letter demanding safer streets in Milwaukee? He should have asked, why did not a single Democrat from Milwaukee sign that letter demanding safer streets in Milwaukee? I think if we had an honest press corps, there would be a camera and a microphone in every single Milwaukee Democrat's face saying, hey, why is it that Republicans from halfway across the state seem to care more about protecting your constituents than you do? What have you done? Name one thing, name 5 steps that you have taken to proactively try to make Milwaukee a safer place. There's no question that the city is becoming more dangerous. The city over the past 5 years is more dangerous than it's been in a generation. We have not seen crime like this in Milwaukee since the 1980s and 1990s, where there was a massive crime explosion across the country. And Milwaukee doesn't exist in a vacuum. Things are getting so bad in Washington, D.C., that President Trump is threatening to federalize the city, which is exactly how Washington, D.C. should have always been governed. When it was first awarded the status of the capital in that deal that Alexander Hamilton made with James Madison and Thomas Jefferson in exchange for the creation of a central banking system, it was always envisioned. And the reason, by the way, that the capital was moved from Philadelphia was because there was an honest to goodness riot by police officers who were not getting paid for overtime or extra duty in guarding the delegates to the Constitutional Convention. Did you know that? That they decided, Philadelphia, we can't have a place where people are loyal to their own state hosting the capital, because that state is always going to get preferential treatment. So we need to carve out an area that is not part of any state and designate that as federal territory that will only serve as the capital city, not of a state, but of the entire country. That's why Washington does not exist in any state, but rather in its own district, the District of Columbia. The concept of, well, the city should have a mayor, the city should have its own council, the city should make decisions independent from the federal government is actually a relatively new concept that was never envisioned by the people who actually founded this country and founded Washington, D.C. Milwaukee, unfortunately, has no such luxury, although if the state of Wisconsin was going to take over the operation of Milwaukee, I dare say Governor Tony Evers and the state's real governor, Maggie Gao, would do an even worse job of protecting the citizenry than Chevy Johnson and his merry band of idiots. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back. Don't go anywhere.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Northbound on 43 near Kilbourne, you got a crash block in the left lane. Heavy delays back to the Marquette and continuing up to Burleigh as well. Southbound delays from Keefe back down to the Marquette. Blue Mound remains shut down both directions at Sunny Slope with crash cleanup. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships.
For over 65 years, the Lynch family of dealerships has been more than just a car dealership. Starting in 1957, we've treated our customers like family from day one. Start your car buying journey today at shoplynch.com.
Looking to bring natural light and safety into your lower level? Trust the experts at Banex Egress Windows. This family-owned and operated company installs egress windows in just one day with no subcontractors and a 4-year labor warranty. Banex handles all permits and codes, ensuring the perfect fit to brighten your basement and add peace of mind. Financing options are available too. Let Banex turn your lower level into a lighter, safer space. Visit BAYNICKS.com today.
I'm Eric Karlovitz from Good Health Saunas. Check out Good Health Saunas' massive display at the Wisconsin State Fair, July 31st through August 10th. See every model be set up, feel them, touch them, try them out, and compare to find the ideal sauna for you and the entire family. Attendees will receive huge discounts on our show display floor models. Come early, they always sell out. GoodHealthSaunas.com or 365 days a year at 2242 West Blue Mound Road in Waukesha next to Home Depot. That's GoodHealthSaunas.com.
At Advent, nasal congestion and sinus infections can be solved with an in-office 20-minute procedure. Elsewhere, expect surgery.
When it comes to your home or business, trust matters. At Blue Line, we've brought integrity and reliability to every job since 2016. Bill here, retired detective and owner of Blue Line Window Washing. Blue Line proudly serves southeastern Wisconsin with top-tier window cleaning, pressure washing, and gutter cleaning, delivering spotless results with unmatched professionalism. We proudly support law enforcement, first responders, and military veterans because service runs deep in who we are. For clean windows, clear gutters, and a home that shines, call Blue Line. Visit BlueLineWW.com today.
Academic Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at ACCUNET.com.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all. iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's conservative thought, not just talk. President Trump has weighed in on the crime in Washington, D.C. with a message to a man who has big balls in name and in spirit. Edward Corsadine, who rose to fame as the Doge employee with the hilarious avatar or screen name of Big Balls, saved a woman from a carjacking, and he was himself assaulted by 4 or 5 teenagers. But he did rescue the woman. He was bloodied and battered, and he's being hailed as a hero. Trump just posted on Truth Social, Edward, the crime situation in Washington, just like our southern border, where 0 illegals entered in the last 3 months, will be a safe place very soon. Thank you for your bravery and heart. Stay tuned. He's making a move to federalize D.C., and I think he should, for the reasons that I stated before the break. Do you realize Washington, D.C. now has a higher homicide rate than such capitals of the world as Mexico City, Mexico, and Bogota, Colombia? In fact, of the capital cities of the world and national capital cities, DC has the worst homicide rate by far at 41 per 100,000. You know how homicide rates work, right? We're not going to be fooled by per capita rates. A lot of people are like, well, no. You've got one group of people commits way more crime. Total crimes, yes, but on a per capita basis, this is how people compare different sized cities, different sized populations to get a more accurate view of what crime is actually like. Lagos, Nigeria, has a homicide rate of 15 per 100,000. That's pretty bad. Brasilia, Brazil, 13 per 100,000. Bogota, Colombia, 11 per 100,000. Mexico City, Mexico, 8 per 100,000. Lima, Peru, 7 per 100,000. Nairobi, Kenya, 5 per 100,000. Havana, Cuba, 4 per 100,000. Washington, D.C., 41 per 100,000 people. That is, forget shameful. That's beyond shocking. We're supposed to, if I were to give you all of these countries, let's say Mexico, Colombia, Nigeria, Brazil, Kenya, Cuba, Peru, and the United States, which would you say, just off the top of your head, which is by far the safest? Which would you feel safest walking around? If I were to plunk you in a random place in Kenya or a random place in Colombia or Mexico or a random place in the United States, where would you feel the safest? Here. Now you might say, well, yes, because all of you right-wing radio listeners are so racist. If I were to ask a Colombian that, they would say the United States too. Don't believe me? Why are so many Mexicans and Colombians and Nigerians and Brazilians all trying to flee their countries to get to the United States? Is it because they believe we're a crime-infested hellhole? Nope. It's because they think they can get a better life here, except in Democrat-run cities like Washington, D.C., which are indeed crime-infested hellholes. For years, I have been doing the statistics, and finally, people nationally are catching up to this, about the cities with the highest homicide rates in the country. And they're not the cities that you would think. New York is actually, relatively speaking, a lot safer. The cities with the highest homicide rates in the country have all had Democrat mayors and have been totally controlled by Democrats going back decades. Now, producer Jeff, you've only been producing for me for what, 3-4 months, something like this. My older two producers, my last three, could recite this from memory. What year, if you had to guess, did Milwaukee last have a Republican mayor? Never. That's actually a good guess. It was the last year the Cubs won a World Series before 2016. 1908 was the last time Milwaukee had a Republican. We have had 3 socialist mayors. We are the only city to elect a socialist and then say, yeah, that was a great experience. Let's elect another socialist. We did it 2 other times. New York is, they're breezing way past Milwaukee. They're going to elect a full-blown communist in Zohran Mamdani. Cities like Baltimore, St. Louis, Memphis, Tennessee, Washington, D.C. are always among the most dangerous, i.e. have the highest violent crime rates or highest murder rates in the country. They are the cities that have gone the longest without any Republican mayors. Now, you might say, well, Dan, there are probably Republican common council members. Yeah, sure, 1 or 2 on a council of 20. Republicans do not have institutional power in any of these cities. The last time Milwaukee had any sort of conservative Republican in any position of power was when David Clark was sheriff of Milwaukee County. What happened? We got safer. Where specifically? We got safer in the parks, on the freeways, and on the beach. David Clark, in the areas where the county sheriff's department was authorized to patrol and do law enforcement, cleaned up every single one. We had a massive problem with wrong-way drivers on the freeway system, reckless driving. It was cleaned up because of saturation patrols. Bradford Beach was a no-go zone. Do you remember when people used to just, they would have like parties on Lincoln Memorial Drive downtown? They would just stop traffic. They would get out and blast music and just kind of riot. There were shootings, there were assaults. It was just a lawless place after dark. Bradford Beach was dead. I mean, you did not want to go around there. Sheriff Clark came in. He put up a giant trailer that said Milwaukee Sheriff's Department, and there were deputies patrolling constantly. The message was clear. You are being watched and you will be arrested. Bradford Beach is now one of the safer places to go in the city of Milwaukee. It's a wonderful place, a great place to hang out, because we had a conservative in charge. Unfortunately, he left in 2018. Wouldn't you know it, our absentee sheriff, Danita Ball, continued most of his policies. Now, we don't have the same saturation patrols, of course, but we do still have the giant trailer that says Milwaukee Sheriff's Department. And word got out under the Clark administration to all the lowlifes in Milwaukee that the party's over at Bradford Beach. You want to go to Bradford Beach, you'd better behave or you're going to be arrested and you're going to be taken to jail. Rest of Milwaukee isn't like that. And now downtown Milwaukee is and has for the past 4 or 5 years, ever since the gunfight at the Water Street Corral some years ago that made international news when 17 people were shot in a mass shooting incident. It is now the lawless place where thugs go knowing full well that they can get away with, in some cases, murder or attempted murder. This has the effect of killing a city. If people don't feel safe going to the areas that draw it to the city, the beach, the downtown, the nightlife, Fiserv Forum, the city doesn't have. I use River Splash as the example all the time. River Splash was a fantastic event. It was the kickoff to summer. It was either Memorial Day weekend or the weekend right after Memorial Day. It was a lot of fun. Then there was a shooting, actually a couple of shootings 2 years in a row, and they ended it. I'm not saying that Water Street is going to go away But if there isn't a concerted effort to protect the people who go down to Water Street, they won't. And in fact, I've been hearing from people on Water Street that it's a big problem, that attendance at the bars is down. Restaurants are not seeing the crowds that they were. Now, a big part of that, of course, is inflation. People don't have the money because their cash is devoted to the basic necessities. So they don't have the ability to have the flexibility to have the disposable income to be able to go down and spend. Now, my goodness, someone was pointing out why is Las Vegas dying? Why is attendance at movies down? You go to a movie, $13 for a ticket, $30 for a popcorn and a soda. You take a family of 4 to the latest Disney Pixar movie, that's costing you $120, $130, unless you're having kids tape jujubes to their bodies to try to sneak them into the theater. People can't afford that. You go out for a night with friends, have a couple of drinks, maybe an appetizer, easy, $70, $80. When before it would cost you $30 or $40. The long-term impact of Bidenflation is going to be felt for decades. And a big, big, big place it's being felt right now is in the housing market. Real disturbing statistic just came out. We're going to share it with you. Coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Southbound on 43 is a half hour from Brown Deer to the Marquette. Northbound is only half that. Still got crash cleanup near Fond du Lac, blocking the left lane. Full closure of Blue Mound out in Elm Grove, both directions at Sunny Slope with an accident. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Harwood Place Assisted Living in Wauwatosa. Located in the heart of Wauwatosa, Harwood Place Assisted Living offers quality nursing care, chef-prepared meals, gym and fitness classes, salon, church services, and so much more. To learn more about their monthly incentives or schedule a tour, visit harwoodplace.org.
You, Las Vegas, and the best musical artists on the globe. Sounds delightfully combustible, right? Win a trip for 2 to the iHeartRadio Music Festival presented by Capital One. 3 times each weekday. Text in a keyword and you might be a winner in the nationwide iHeartRadio Music Festival Flyaway Contest. Also in the prize package, $1,000.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival Flyaway Contest is sponsored locally by the friendly experts at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. With 1,300 vehicles in one place, it's worth the trip. HolidayAutomotive.com.
Hey, Dan here for Weather Pro Exteriors, a family-owned and operated place that will take care of you with your residential or commercial roofing project. They do siding, they do windows, exterior doors, gutter replacement and installation, and they install only the very best products to ensure the job is done right the first time. Owens Corning Roofing, James Hardy Siding, Provia Doors, Weather Pro Windows, Velux Skylights. These are the best in their class. They serve southeast and northeast Wisconsin, from Milwaukee to Green Bay, the Fox Valley, and more. And you need to work with them because they're family owned and operated. And that means that they're deeply invested in your project, as invested as you are. They're certified, licensed installers, and you can trust them to get the job done and get the job done right. So right now, you need to get your project started by heading to weatherproexteriors.com. That's weatherproexteriors.com.
I'm Kelly Lammert at Clean Living Environments. Exhausted today because last night was sweaty and sleepless? Kids upstairs can't sleep unless your bedroom is freezing and you're overwhelmed by stifling humid heat just a few steps up the stairs? Clean Living Environment Clean ducts allow more cool air to make it through your vents to the farthest room from the furnace and every room in between. Clean Living Environment's AeroSeal duct sealing allows your furnace and ducts to deliver cool, refreshing air as your HVAC system was designed. The engineer didn't account for loosely fitted pipes snaking from the furnace through walls to vents or loosely boxed off stud spaces and right angle returns forcing air out of ducts. Literally tonnage of cool air escaping into the basement, walls, and attic before reaching intended rooms. Dank basement air sucked into gaps and distributed throughout the house results in dust, musty smells, less cooled air to parts of the house, and larger energy bills. Upgrading summer is cool. Get more out of your ducts. CleanLivingEnvironments.com. That's cleanlivingenvironments.com.
Time now for This Week with Annex Wealth Management. Dan O'Donnell alongside Brian Jacobson, the chief economist at Annex. For a while now, President Trump has been deriding Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell as being too late. Well, now that we saw the revised jobs numbers for the past couple of months, Brian, it seems as though Trump might have been right. Powell just might have been too late on cutting interest rates.
That's right. It looks like if the Fed knew then what they know now, that they maybe would have actually cut rates, because we got those big revisions to the labor numbers. We know that private sector payroll growth has been declining all year. And now, thankfully, we did get a little bit of a bounce in July, but there were only 3,000 net non-farm payroll jobs created in June. And that type of slowdown is something that the Fed probably should have anticipated and been cutting all along, as opposed to just sitting there twiddling their thumbs.
And that's the thing. The Fed needs to be more proactive instead of just waiting for numbers that I think we all sort of knew were coming, right?
Well, yes. Governor Waller, Governor Bowman. So these are governors of the Federal Reserve Board. They sit there in Washington, D.C. with the rest of the governors, and they should really be more on the same page. And they had been warning about these signs that there was the labor market slowing. But Chair Powell, he is much more focused, or has been too focused perhaps, on potential changes in inflation expectations, which is almost like being afraid of the boogeyman, because it's something that you can't really measure. You can't really prove if it's there or not. And instead of actually looking at the data, being data dependent, what has happened, they were worried more about what might happen, ignoring all the evidence that was accumulating in front of their face.
He is Brian Jacobson, chief economist at Annex. I'm Dan O'Donnell saying thanks so much for listening to This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
Injured? Call Gruber Law. One call, that's all. The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now. Like 80s Rock Ride, featuring Van Halen, Billy Idol, Aerosmith, Def Leppard, and more for your summer road trips. Crank it up all summer. 80s Rock commercial free 24/7. I stay for a white wedding. Just open the free iHeartRadio app and find your next summer preset now.
We report, you decide. Factual, fair, and balanced coverage. Your exclusive home of Fox News Radio. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Real estate website Redfin reports this week that home sellers outnumber home buyers by more than 500,000, 1.9 million in the United States to 1.4 million. That is the largest gap that Redfin has ever recorded. That is evidence of a deep issue with home prices. Now, why do you suppose so many buyers, we had buyers outnumbering sellers by a large margin for, years, from about 2019 through COVID, right up until about, I would say, April or May of 2022. What do you suppose happened? Or rather, what fully took hold in 2022 that would cause buyers to disappear from the market? Is it just that so many buyers bought houses during the COVID era? No. They dropped out of the housing market because the price of houses, just like the price of everything else, increased exponentially. At the same time, you saw an explosion in home sellers as the baby boom generation reached and surpassed retirement age and decided it was finally time to downsize. But at the same time, the Federal Reserve was trying to get inflation out of the economy with the only tool it has, rate increases. When the Fed funds rate goes up, so too do mortgage rates. Not only were home prices unaffordable, the average price of a starter home now in the United States, medium price, over $400,000. Starter home. Typically, you put what percentage of a home down as a down payment? 10%, right? That's the rule of thumb. You want to put 10% down. Yes, I know you generally want to put way more than that down now. And frankly, the offers that are getting accepted are typically cash offers with limited or no contingencies. At least they were. It was a feeding frenzy for a while there, as buyers had to just do outrageous things in order to get their offer even looked at. I said, we waive the home inspection contingency, waive the finance, waive every contingency. Take these enormous risks just to get a house that was $150,000 2 years ago, but is now $400,000. The market exploded, and I believe a bubble was created, made even worse by the fact that money is now a lot more expensive. It's just out of the price range of most average Americans. Most Americans cannot afford to buy a house. Because at the same time, those Americans who were renting, now either the would-be buyers are locked into a mortgage at 2 or 3% that they can't afford to get out of. I mean, if your monthly home payment is $1,000 and it would go up instantly to $4,000 were you to buy a new house, unless you absolutely have to, like because of a move or something like that, or you found out your wife's having triplets, so all of a sudden you need a much bigger house, you probably can't justify that big of a jump, or you can't afford it, because up until the Trump administration, up until the last 5 months, inflation was dramatically outpacing wage increases. And for those who weren't already in a house that they were paying a mortgage on, rents were going up through the roof. So all of a sudden, people who didn't get their rents locked in, they're getting notices, hey, your rent's going up $500 a month. Because guess what? Taxes are going up. Costs to maintain rental properties are going up. The cost of everything is going up. This is a real crisis, not just in housing, but in affordability of everything. Now, I believe the steps that the Trump administration have taken to ameliorate this crisis are good ones, but it's going to take a little bit. And make no mistake, inflation went up so fast. Prices skyrocketed so dramatically, so quickly, that people just now, I think, are feeling the full impact of just how much their lives have changed as a result of full Democrat control of federal government and federal economic policy. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Follow Dan at facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show next.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
Southbound 4145 going to be jammed from Good Hope down to Capitol, northbound between Mayfair and Hampton, 94 eastbound on the brakes from 84th to the stadium, westbound 35th to the stadium. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling.
This heat is unbearable.
Keep your family comfortable with First Choice Heating. For a limited time, get $89 off your AC and heating tune-up. Milwaukee's trusted HVAC company, firstchoiceheating.com.
Dan O'Donnell here for my good friends at Mander Collision and Glass, the only place I've trusted my vehicles with for years now. Their customer service is impeccable, and their workmanship is so good, they guarantee it for life. But don't just take my word for it. Here's a 5-star review from Alana. Mander was amazing. From Noel at the front desk to Nikki, who helped coordinate my insurance and repairs, I could not have had a better experience. My 2021 Subaru Forester looks brand new. I honestly don't think I've had this great of a customer service experience in my life. I'll refer anyone and everyone to Mander if they ever find themselves in a bind. Thank you so much. No, thank you, Alana, for helping me spread the word about just how great Mander is. Wherever you are in the greater Milwaukee and Waukesha area, there's a service center near you. So start your repair now at mandercollision.com.
With the iHeartRadio app, your favorite radio station fits right in your pocket. Live shows, news, sports, exclusive music channels, and voices that don't just go viral. They're the voices of your local community. Join the millions who already have it. iHeartRadio, the #1 app for radio.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go.
Hey, it's Jerry Bott. You know that feeling you get when you realize you're dealing with a company that cares about you, not just as a customer, but as a person? That's the overwhelming feeling I got when I bought my vehicle at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The Holiday staff was attentive, patient, totally engaged, and they listened. That inspires confidence, and confidence inspires trust.
Connect with Holiday's summer road trip sale. Score enticing offers and get more for your trade on a new Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC.
Oh, we are all looking for adventure.
Come be our guest, take a test drive, and get ready to travel the road ahead. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday.
Living free, and I was meant to be free. Meant to be free.
Holiday Automotive, Fond du Lac, and at holidaygm.com.
It's worth the trip.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus.
I believe in aliens, ghosts, and UFOs, but I don't believe Hassleus Mattress is employee-free.
It's true. Give our mattresses a try with no pushy sales guy.
Do these mattresses come from Area 51?
We're talking big names like Sealy Posturepedic and Beautyrest.
Who's supporting you? The Illuminati?
If you need support, through Monday, get a free adjustable base with any new mattress.
That's what the lizard people told you to say.
Find an employee-free showroom near you at hassleus.com.
Dan O'Donnell here with my friend Daniel from Bayview Shade and Blind. Daniel, I love the work you guys did at our new home, and more importantly, my wife loves it too.
Appreciate that, Dan. We work with folks who really value having a trusted guide to walk them through the whole process, from choosing the right window treatments to professional installation. That's how we do it at Bayview Shade.
And you know what, Daniel? It really shows. Go to bayviewshade.com. They're sharing a little sunshine from their family to yours for 99 years.
Don't miss the savings during Runnings Gift Card Bonanza. Shop in-store and online August 12th and 13th. Get a $10 gift card when you spend $100. Get a $25 gift card when you spend $200. And a $75 gift card when you spend $500. The more you spend pre-tax, the more you earn, in-store and online. Don't miss the Gift Card Bonanza at your local Running store. Shop any of our 90 locations or online anytime at Runnings.com. Runnings, your home, farm, and outdoor store.
To-do list, then there's no better time to call Feldco. Buy one window, get one free. Plus, no interest for 1 year. It's the best time to give us a call. You know the number.
Call 866 for Feldco.
Simplify keeps you safe, warm, and dry. For a free estimate, go to simplifyroofing.com.
Love waits for the snap, and here it is. Rush on, has time, throws left side of the end zone. Catch me! Romeo Dobbs has the pylon. Touchdown, Green Bay. And he throws the football into the stands to Richardson. Winds up deep down the right side into a gaggle of bodies. It's broken up and intercepted by the Packers.
The home of your Green Bay Packers and the flagship of the Packers Radio Network.
And there is your dagger.
97.3 The Game.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Just a couple of minutes left here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. The affordability crisis really is, I think, the biggest societal one that we face. it's far bigger than the left's paranoid delusions about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, or the imagination of the left that what did that left-wing professor from UW-Madison call it? The imaginaries of the left, that Donald Trump is some sort of would-be dictator who is going to seize power and declare himself president for life. The fact that Democrats were given total control of this country, they implemented pretty much every policy that they desired from 2021 to 2023, and it failed. It failed spectacularly. Nowhere was this more obvious or more apparent than in fiscal policy. They flooded the system with massive government spending, with the sort of handouts that they've always relied on to pay back or win the favor of preferred constituencies. And it destroyed the economy. I think it's going to take a decade to undo the damage that Joe Biden or whoever was really running the country did. And unfortunately, we are all quite literally paying for it. Out of time for today's show. Friday edition starts 3:06 tomorrow. Catch you back here then on The Dan O'Donnell Show.